right, welcome into the Blood Prison Shakedown. Thanks for joining us once again. And today I've got a special guest. Had a little bit of a drive. He works at a haunt down in Cincinnati. He doesn't live there, but he works at a pretty famous haunt, especially in Ohio, but known all over. We have Maximus Bryant with us. Max, how's it going, man?
I'm good, Vic. How are you?
Good. Representing the Dent Schoolhouse, man.
I am, but you have me coming on right after Katie, and that's just not fair.
No, you don't think so?
No, she is amazing.
Oh, she is. She's awesome.
She is amazing, but it is made up for the fact that I think this is episode number 10, so
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
I'm fine with it. Episode 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice round number. Eat
Absolutely.
that, Katie. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Don't make her upset.
No. She was great. I loved having her on. She was just a wealth of knowledge to talk about just acting and how she trains her actors and, everything that she does. And boy, I tell you what, we talked some stuff about her, what she does to freak people out. And you saw the episode, that last, oh my gosh, dude, I was sitting there like, Katie, just stop, please. I don't want to hear no more. Stop.
Because from the beginning of the interview, you didn't think that was going to come out, but
No.
there it was.
We're still talking about it. I told that story so many times, like, you know what she did? Do you know what she did? And everyone's just like, what? Yeah.
I'm honored to start the episode off by recapping her. She is amazing.
No, she's awesome. We love her. She was great. It was great having her. Great having you on, man. I was so happy when you agreed to do it, just because I know you live kind of far away. I like having people here. I mean, we can always do the Zoom chat or whatever it is, but just having people here, I think is just better. We can talk about it and be a little more organic when it talks about scaring the hell out of people.
Higher quality audio as well. You got these cool mics and this.
Oh,
this
yeah.
is an amazing setup.
Oh, well, thanks, man.
I just wanted to tell you that the format of this that you've done so far, 10 episodes in, this format's amazing. This long form conversation type format. This is phenomenal. And the effort you all have put into it, I love it. So
well, thank you.
Thank you for doing this, especially in Ohio.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, right.
I mean, it's not going to be Ohio exclusive, but it's amazing, know, and I love it.
Well, I mean, the way I saw it was, I'm an old radio guy. I used to work in radio back in the day. That's where I got my career started. It's really what led me into what I do now. And I loved it. I loved talking to people. I loved being on the air. I loved the production work more than anything. So when I pitched the idea of doing something like this, I'm like, dude, there's a ton of podcasts out there. I mean, I heard somebody say you should do a podcast about podcasts and how many there are, not just about Halloween, but about everything. I'm like, it's just, help, promote the Dent Schoolhouse. The Trail of Nightmares on the other side of town. I got John and Flo coming in from the Mohican Haunted Schoolhouse. They're going to be next. You know what I mean? So
John and Flo, I love you. I mean, bless their heart.
They're sweet
everything.
people.
I mean, when you see what they've done with Mohican, it's amazing. I love them. But I mean,
they're awesome.
I mean, when they say, a podcast on podcasts, I feel like, there is a haunt podcast that is about other podcasts. As a matter of fact, they're probably going to invite you on here soon.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that, who is that?
The Reverend Gravedigger Mike Ross of Haunt Chat Live.
Okay.
Yes.
I haven't heard from them as of yet. I've heard from, what is that guy's name? Oh man, I'm drawing a blank. I feel so bad. He reached out to me last month. It's the wrestling.
Jim and Donnie.
Yes.
From Horror Wrestling.
Yeah. They talked to me.
Wrestle Horror. I'm sorry, Jim and Donnie, Wrestle Horror.
Yeah. I talked to them a little while ago. We're supposed to figure something out. Stuff like Roger Miller wants to do something, which I'm honored, you know what I mean? Just to be even with any one of those guys. But yeah, it's just fun, you know what I mean? And it helps get Halloween out there, whether you're coming to the haunt as a guest, whether you work here at a haunt, at the Dent Schoolhouse, at wherever, name your haunt, just talking about it. And it's like, you can't, I don't know, for me, obviously for us, you can't beat talking about haunted houses, Halloween, horror movies.
Nothing beats talking shop.
No.
I think this was my love of the industry was, getting into it was one thing. Acting at a haunt was one thing. But learning about it nationally, and I haven't even learned about it nationally, but like just the more and more you dig into the industry, there's just so much more about it. Like when I discovered there were haunted house focused podcasts.
Yeah.
Like I think the Big Scary Show was the first one I came across,
course,
and then I was I'm listening to that one on my drives, and then that led me to another one and another
Yeah.
one and another one. And then you learn about conventions, and there's just so much to this industry, this big, beautiful industry that you and I are a part of.
Oh man,
I
love it.
And the fact that you and I can just talk about it.
Yeah.
And it's wonderful.
It is. And it has its moments. I mean, there's times when I'm like, oh my gosh, I just want to run a haunted house. You know what I mean? It's all I'm trying to do here, But we were talking with Katie, when I was talking with Katie on the last show, we talked about the awestruck moment of walking into Transworld for the first time, like the very first time you went Transworld. And of course, I'm an old man. I'm older than she is. But she went to Chicago Transworlds. I've never been to a Chicago Transworld. I was like, oh man, I was St. Louis. But I remember the first time, I think it was 2000. I want to say it was 2009, 2010 was the first Transworld I went to. I was blown away. I walked in there. I mean, we were setting our booth up because where I worked, we were vending there. But like just walking in and seeing it, I'm like, oh man, we're not the only ones. It's amazing.
It is. So this year was actually my first year at Transworld, like ever.
Really?
Yeah. And the reason for that was because when I started acting at the Dent Schoolhouse, and then, I learned about the podcast and the conventions and so on and so forth, people started talking about Transworld. And I knew MHC existed. It was in Columbus, Ohio.
Yes.
So I went to Columbus, and then people were talking about Transworld. And then people started saying about whether or not I would go to Transworld. Well, I started looking into it. And then a lot of people were saying, it's more like geared towards haunted house owners.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, well, I'm not a haunted house owner.
Yeah.
There are thousands of dollars cost props. I'm not going to buy a prop that costs thousands of dollars.
Right.
I'm just not going to. So for the longest time now, I've always thought Transworld was not for me. And so I never went. And well, with everything that happened with COVID and everything, I was kind of anxious to get out there and travel again and do things. So I decided to go to Transworld this year, and it was my first year. Now, maybe people have some thoughts about how this year's went with COVID and everything.
Yeah.
However, me walking in for the first time, I was blown away.
Yeah.
Like, you've been to HauntCon, right? Mm-hmm. And you've walked into the Halloween Expo side of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's kind of what it was like. Like when I walked into the Halloween Expo side of things, I was a bit intimidated. There was these giant booths with the walls and the displays and everything.
Right.
And, I was like, "Ooh, is this HauntCon?" And then learning about the difference between HauntCon and Halloween Party Expo. Yeah. Well, then walking into Transworld, and you've seen rows upon rows and rows of vendors, and you see some pretty awesome setups, and like in the middle of it, Nethercraft had all their panels up, and then you see Froggy's Fog, and then you see the Dark Zone, and I was loving it. Mm-hmm. I loved it. I had so much fun. And, for my first time at Transworld, Haunt Topic Radio and Haunted Attractions Network was having me go around doing interviews. And thank you for participating, by the way.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, that was good.
That was awesome of you. And so I'm trying to first get the experience, but then I'm also trying to work at the same time. So I had a great time, though. It was fantastic seeing the owners of Dent walk around. And this was the first time I actually got to watch them walk around. They're looking at everything. They're kind of thinking. They're processing. And then afterwards, they're kind of thinking, yeah, we could use this item at this scene and this item at this scene.
Yeah.
And I've never gotten to see that side of them before. And I was like, oh, I actually, it's like this was like my behind the scenes kind of experience at Dent.
Yeah.
I work there, but there's still things about it I still don't know. And the learning the process of how they're figuring out what they're going to do for the next season and everything. It was great to be a part of and see.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Because you get that early stage of what are we doing and where are we going to use this stuff. Yeah, Transworld, I mean, the Dark Zone, for instance. I mean, I remember the first time I walked in there, you're just blown away by just the giant props that were in there. Some made by a company I'm not going to bring up, but...
Fair enough.
But there's now, and I don't remember exactly, but I could swear back then, and I could be wrong. I could be wrong on this. Back then, that was the only thing that was in there but it seems like it's grown so much, like with Poison Props. But even this year, they weren't really there.
Yeah, they had a little sign up.
They had that little,
that they had fulfilled their order. So
exactly.
well, not the year before, but the 2 years ago, was it bigger?
Oh man, well, there's just a lot more stuff in there. Even the place I was talking about had more stuff a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And it's all probably because it was in May, and not March. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was later in the season, so less time to get those orders in.
Exactly.
And that was one thing that, as the owners are walking around, they're talking to vendors about their props and everything. They're asking them, okay, well, when's your delivery time? You know, is it? Some were saying July, some were saying August, some were saying September, some were saying we're full up.
Yeah.
I interviewed a guy and he's like, nope, I'm done. Everything that you see here is sold, and I have too many orders that take me beyond October 2021.
Yeah.
Which was actually very encouraging, because a lot of people were wondering, okay, are people going to buy, or are the vendors able to come back? Because I think a lot of people were worried about the vendors last year, right? And this year it seemed like people did well, like very well.
We did, yeah, for sure.
And so I was very happy for the vendors, and it made me happy, because I know that it was a scary time, and we don't know what's going to happen next with this Delta variant, but I know a lot of people were worried, but from all the interviews I did, seemed like it was a good time, and vendors were happy.
Yeah, I mean, we did way better this year than we did the not obviously 2020, but in 2019, night and day. Mm-hmm. We did. It was just like, and the funny thing is we sold some things that we hadn't sold in a long time, and it was like unbelievable. Like we have this one at Creature Core, we have this one puppet that it's an actor controlled werewolf puppet. We've had it since, I think we debuted that thing in 2013 or 14, maybe 13. I think is when we first brought it out. It was a big hit. Everybody loved it. And then usually when you you debut a product and you sell a bunch, and then the next year you sell a bunch but not as many, and then it just gets smaller and smaller. I just took another order for one of those and I told the guys, like, we're done ordering. I'm sorry, dude. It's like, there's no way I'm going to have your puppet to you by October. It's probably going to be after October.
Right.
Just being truthful. But we sold more of those this year than I think we have in quite a while. It's just amazing how that works. So it's just like, you got to bring those old props back. And this year it was kind of like that. Mm-hmm. We have this anatomy statue thing that I think we might have sold one or two when we first brought that into the catalog. And we took it out of the catalog. I mean, it's a cool prop. I have one here, but I'm like, nobody's buying it. So we took it out and we just brought it back. I just made one, had our guys make one, and we ran it, painted it, made it look real cool, took some pictures, threw it on the Facebook and Instagram page, and it sold like that. So I was like, well, let's put it back in. And I've sold like 2 or 3 more since then. I got it ahead. I'm making a bust for somebody. So it's just kind of weird how that works when you're vending. You're always trying to figure out, obviously, what that next thing is going to be.
You actually should tell us how that actually happens, because I don't understand how you manage a haunt and then build things. Whether it be that giant Jack in the Box thing, or the Frankenstein, or any of these things that you've already talked about. Like, I don't get how you do that.
Well, it's not easy. I'm going to tell you that much. And I've learned that I'm doing it wrong because I'm cross-purposing people, and it's a nightmare, because like my technician here at the Blood Prison, his name's Mike Tom. He is awesome. He's an amazing tech. He can build that giant Frankenstein. We call it Uberstein. Mm-hmm. That's all him. He made the mech on that. Everything. He did it all, and he's amazing. And I have him working at Creature Core, doing our stuff there, and he runs tech here at Blood Prison. And I feel so bad for the guy, because he's just like, there's no time for him. He like takes a day to go with the bees, his kids, and I'm giving him so much shit. I'm like, where are you? He's like, I'm home with my kids. I'm just like, get to work. He's like, it's Sunday. But yeah, it's just one of those things. So yeah, it helps a little bit when you can cross purpose a little. But it also hurts because when like this year's kind of a big build for us.
Yeah.
So I have them like just buried here doing the stuff that we're doing here.
Right.
And now I'm like, oh, dude, I got another werewolf puppet. Somebody just ordered an Uberstein costume, so I need some fists made. And he's just like, all right, so he's going over Sunday to do it. I just feel horrible. I'm like, he's like, well, but he don't care because he loves it. He's like us.
Right.
He loves it. It's his passion. And he digs it, and he likes watching it. The stuff he built this year for the haunt. I don't want to it's brand new stuff. I don't want to give it away. I want people to see it.
You don't want to do an exclusive on your own show?
I want it to be a surprise. I mean, it's just a really cool piece that we did. We got together and, did the design for this new room that we're doing up in the house. And it's brand new. So I got 2 brand new rooms in the house. So I'm just like, I want people to come and see me like, oh shit.
So you're selling it to me because I know Friday, Saturdays, and Sundays in October, Blood Prison.
Yeah.
So there might be a Sunday that I'm going to make it.
Okay. Well, as I say, you're going to be at Dent. So
I'm going to be there like many Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. We're also open on Sundays, but I don't work every single Sunday. So if there's a haunt that's open on a Sunday, I'm totally willing to make the trip if I'm not working that Sunday. But
well, you let me know, man. We'll make sure you're good to go.
Oh, because I'd love to see it. Because when you all opened for Ohio Haunters Convention, I got to see several parts of it.
Yeah.
But I didn't get to see it in the cell blocks.
Yeah.
And so I think what was it, 2018, 2019? The reviews were you were killing it like crazy.
Oh yeah.
And all the reviews. I mean, you always have, but it was like.
Right.
2019 was just a crazy year, I think, and everybody's talking blood prison. So it made me excited for the convention, and then now I want to see this new stuff you're talking about.
Oh yeah,
so I'm excited to see it.
The cell blocks are obviously, I mean, I came in, before I got the team I have together now. When I was still with Kurtzman, we had an idea, we had a vision for what we wanted to do, and it's really in the cell blocks, because that's big areas.
Yeah.
And they're really, really starting to come to life now. The team I got in here, like with Mike Tom, who I mentioned earlier, he was a character, but an amazing, amazing guy to have on your team. I got Bryant Dembski on my team as my set dresser, my painter.
You do?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, talking about another guy I interviewed at Transworld.
Yes. Yeah, you did. Yeah.
It's because Andrea was next to him. So
yeah, we got the wardens with Andrea. Yeah. But yeah, so you saw his booth.
Yeah.
At Transworld. You see the stuff he does, like the level of,
Yeah, that's cool looking stuff. Like,
yeah.
Like
and
amazingly detailed, and it sets like a certain color palette.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember seeing it and thinking like, man, there are some beautiful scenes you can make with all this stuff.
Oh yeah.
And now that you said it, it's like, yes.
Yeah.
It can actually fit perfectly here.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. He does a great job. He's well, I've known Brian for many years. I mean, we go back. I think I met him in 2006. Yeah, I think it was 2006 maybe when he came, because he was up in Michigan and he worked with Robert Kurtzman at K&B Effects out in Los Angeles in California and worked on movies with him. And then when Bob Kurtzman moved back to Ohio and we started he started Precinct 13 Entertainment, he needed crew, and Brian was in, Michigan at that time, which where he's from. So we brought him in, and that's how I first met Brian. And we always got along really great because we're just 2 goofballs that just have really weird sense of humor, and we get each other in that aspect of things. But he's just a phenomenal artist. Plus, Scene Rogers also comes in and does stuff with us. So it's just a great team that I feel we've put together here.
You are surrounded by a lot of talent.
Yeah, I mean, there, and you got to do that, and sometimes it's not as great as, sometimes there's always some clashing, some headbutting here and there, but that just kind of goes with it. You know what I mean? It's just, when you got so many great people with great ideas, and they want to see it happen. So it happens from time to time, but for the most part, it works, and, the cell blocks in that 19 year when we were getting the reviews, we had really, really transformed the cell blocks, like made a big leap that year, especially the West cell block. and did some really cool stuff in there. So we're excited. We're going to add to that too. We got some new stuff for that place. So yeah, we're excited. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're excited for it. It's we didn't do the cell blocks last year, so it's, we want to get them back.
Was it a show similar to the convention that I saw?
It was pretty much the same as the convention, only we still had solitary confinement.
Okay.
And so we put people in there, and then we went from there out into the bullpen. Now that is a queuing area where we queue the guests back up so we can regroup them. Mm-hmm. But we didn't do that there. We just kept them going through that area and then into the east cell block, but then up the steps, which actually leads to the hallway right outside the studio here. Mm-hmm. So there was a little bit extra, but we couldn't because of all the mandating, and we didn't know what was going to happen. When you're a setup and tear down haunt, we needed to know by August if they were even going to let us open.
Yeah.
So if they didn't let us open, if we would have set the cell blocks up and they would have said, "Oh yeah, haunted attractions can't run this year," we'd have been in the we'd have been screwed.
Yeah.
I guess is what I'm trying to say. That would have been tough. So
yeah, it was. I think that's how it was for a lot of haunts. A lot of them just had to think about, okay, do we invest in setting up?
Yeah.
For the state to just shut us down, or by the time COVID was hitting, I feel like, especially with us at Dent, I know that we had already destroyed the scenes that were getting destroyed, had already bought the lumber and everything that was going into those scenes, and all the effects and all that kind of stuff. So, the investment was already there by the time COVID was getting really rampant. I don't even think I heard about COVID until like after HauntCon. Like I think that
January.
Was that was the first time I think I heard of it. And so I feel for a lot of the haunts that had to make decisions. So, and it makes sense for all of you that would have had to say, okay, what are we doing? Like, come October. So, but if there was a group of people that was going to make it work, I really felt like it was haunters.
Yeah.
Like haunters first had to figure out opening, health guidelines, COVID guidelines and everything. And then 2, adjust as the season went on, because I don't know how it was with you necessarily, but I remember the crowds were a little bit more rowdy than, and I think even Katie even said it in the last episode, it was draining, dealing with the customers and everything. So we had to adjust part of the way through, like with some time ticketing and everything, because everybody was showing up at once.
Yeah.
I'm like, whoa, they didn't used to do that. They used to kind of,
they'd been locked down.
Right.
They were ready to do something.
At 7:30.
Yeah.
Right at 7:30 at opening time. They were there.
Yeah.
I'd never seen that before.
Yeah.
But
there
they were, ready to go, and we were already like that. So the time ticketing and everything was something that, and haunters in general had to adjust. I know Bob Turner even said there were some things that he did this year that he's going to carry into future shows because it just worked out better that way.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm proud of the haunt community for adjusting when need be and figuring it out and learning lessons as it went on.
You had to. Yeah, you had to. It was, it was adjust or die.
Right.
I can't not open. I got to open. If they're saying you can open, I'm open. Wear a mask, we'll wear them. You know what I mean?
For a small business, I mean, that's how a lot of us identify ourselves as a small business. If you don't open,
well, you see it happening even now.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be a part of that. You know what I mean? It's rough, especially when you hear about, like major corporate places that are getting like, tax breaks and, things of that nature. And here we are just, asking, just throw us a bone, man. Come on. You know what I mean? Something.
Right.
And it's not that, I don't want to get on a whole tangent on political or the way, COVID was handled or whatever. But just a real short snippet is, we're a big haunted attraction. We do a lot of people. It's, we provide a lot to the community, in terms of revenue, not just the haunt, but like OSR, Ohio State Reformatory, and me personally running this haunt, they gave me $1,000. Not that I feel like, oh, you should have gave me more, but it was like, that's what I get $1,000. What am I going to do with that? Mm-hmm. Not that I'm not grateful. I am, but it's like, Am I going to pay 2 guys to work for a few days? I mean, it's
Yeah.
just like, I mean, whatever. I mean, I get it. Everybody's got their hands out, I suppose, but it's just like there was just a lot of silly things I feel that didn't make sense.
Yeah, well, and even
through the
so,
whole situation.
there were times when haunted houses didn't even reach a politician's ears until October.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you've had this conversation before. You go to a convention in March, people are wondering, why are you going to a haunted house Halloween convention in March?
Yeah.
Well, it's because we don't just exist in October. You know, a lot of haunts open in September, but from the end of the season until the beginning of the next, there's a lot of things happening, a lot of planning, a lot of building, and all that kind of stuff. And so I remember in October, somebody, several governors were talking about haunted houses, and we're like, too late.
Yeah.
That was way too late because everybody was still doing, before then was getting ready, spending a lot of time, money, and effort into getting ready and everything. So,
yeah, it's true. And, if you don't prepare for it, then you're just going to be caught with your pants down.
Right.
And you have to be ready.
Yeah.
But you got to keep going. And it's like you said, now there's a lot of haunts that do off-season events. We're doing a Christmas event this year. It'll be the first time it would be the second, but they shut it down for last year. Mm-hmm. We're doing a Christmas event. People do halfway to Halloween, Christmas. I've been to an Easter haunt. You know what I mean? I mean, the Bloody Valentine and St. Patrick's Day. They're thinking of all these, which I love. I talked about this on an earlier episode I love how Halloween is invading all the other holidays and just destroying them, and tainting all the, I just love it. So, but all that other stuff going on, and we do Incarceration, which is a big tattoo and music festival here at the Reformatory. Mm-hmm. The last time we ran for Ink, we did great. You know what I mean? Because it's a, heavy metal music fest. So people are going to want to check out the haunt. Yeah. And we did great. And people had a great time. We had fun, tattoos, music.
Tattoos, medals, and haunt.
Yeah. You can't beat it.
Yeah.
I personally, that's what I think.
No, it works and it fits all well together. It's a beautiful building that, lends itself to things, that are, there's a haunted house here. You get some metal music going. It's going to be amazing. Oh, yeah. But, these off-season events in Cincinnati, when the Dent Schoolhouse first was doing A Christmas Nightmare, a local news channel came out, covered it. I remember it was posted on Facebook. I remember looking through the comments, and the comments were just upset. Like, seriously? They have to do Christmas? Can't they just stay in October?
No.
I thought it was ironic because I've gone into Walmart on Halloween and seen the Christmas tree already up. So payback as far as I'm concerned.
Exactly. But Christmas in July.
Yeah. But, I thought it was hilarious because the Cincinnati market hadn't been exposed to haunts doing Christmas yet. So all of a sudden, here we are doing it. A lot of people on the comments weren't happy, yet the turnout was amazing.
Yeah.
People came out, they loved it, and we're going to do it again this year even.
Yeah, hell yeah.
And there is a lot of events. I feel like this year there was a lot more halfway to Halloween haunts than I remember.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you think?
Yeah. There was more than normal, it seems like, not just in Ohio, but I think everywhere.
Yeah.
Because, when you're on all the pages on social media, haunters hang out and all that good stuff, you'll see people posting their stuff there like, hey, whatever haunt in Texas is doing a, halfway to Halloween, or Louisiana, or, Utah, whatever it is. You see all that. So, it's rampant pretty much everywhere. And I love it. If you love Christmas and you're mad that Halloween's running during Christmas, piss off.
Yeah.
Too bad.
Well, off-season events are my savior in a way because when you work at a haunt, you can't really visit other haunts unless your haunt, works a kind of a slightly weird schedule. But in general, I don't get to visit the haunts I want to visit.
Yeah.
Off-season events is how I get to do it. And there's a bunch of haunts that I'll only ever see them with the Christmas lights or the Valentine's haunts or everything.
Yeah.
I went to Akron Haunted Schoolhouse when Kay was there, and it was their Bloody Valentine type event.
Yeah, we went to that too.
That's probably the only time I'm ever going to be able to see Akron is during that. But, as is the life of haunting, right?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the off-season events are it gives you and your crew a chance to, like, do some bonding and, what do they call that? Team building.
Yeah.
And you can go and do that stuff. I took a handful of my crew up to the Akron Haunted Schoolhouse a while back. We went and did the escape rooms up there and the axe throwing, because they've got escape room, axe throwing. They've got a liquor license there, so they've got like a full bar. John Eslich is the owner. He brought his like, yeah, sure, come on up, and we did a thing up there. He was great host, and made sure we were taken care of really well, and just had an amazing time. And it was fun. We always have fun when we do it, and it's just those things that you can do. We're gonna do. We were just talking today about doing the Bob Turner's Ghoul Runnings.
Oh yeah, you're gonna go on a kayak, huh?
Yeah, why not? It's
gonna
be
fun. You did
fun.
Commit to it. I do remember.
I did. Yeah.
He said, "Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here. Vic is gonna do the Ghoul."
I do. I haven't talked to him yet. I'm probably gonna call him next week and we're coming up.
He's not gonna forget.
No, I know. He's probably pissed. He's like, why haven't you called?
He has the receipt.
Yeah.
In video format
exactly,
on your YouTube channel.
He made me repeat after him that I was going to come on. Repeat after me. And I'm like, we're really going to do this? Okay. But no, I can't wait to go. It's that's like one of the very first haunts I ever went to was the Haunted Hydro back when I was in high school. It was actually the second haunt I went to, but so I've been going there for years, but
nice. Visiting haunts is great. I love going, like if I get a bunch of people from the Den Schoolhouse crew and we just we come to a haunt and we get to experience it and see everything, and more often than not somebody, either one of the owners or managers, comes out and speaks with us, and we're able to tell them, hey, this was really cool, this was awesome, this actor in this scene was amazing. We love doing that. We love visiting haunts, and we get the impression that whenever we visit a place, that they are appreciative that another haunt has come to visit. And I feel like I know that feeling because when other haunts come and visit us, you typically on a Thursday or Sunday, I'm like, oh, they're here. Yeah. Other haunters are here because I feel like are going to appreciate more what we're doing. I'm not always able to scare them, and maybe I'm a failure as an actor in that way, but they do have fun.
Yeah.
And I love when they come through, and usually I pop out of my scene if I'm in a scene at that point, and they're like, yeah, cool, we're looking at the sets.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's funny, I'll get radioed like every year. I'll get radioed, hey Vic, so and so, Factory of Terror. I saw a bunch of guys from the Factory of Terror outside. And I'll be like, oh, cool. Do you want to come out? What's going on? I was like, they're just coming to the haunt.
Yeah. Just here.
Is John out there? No, I don't know. And I'll be like, well, if he is, let me know. I'll come out and say, hey, you know what I mean? But it's like, no, it's cool, dude. It's all good. It's just about that community.
Yeah.
And
that's why I want in the haunt world is a haunt community. Like, I've never had it to where a haunt has visited us and we're like, oh, those guys are rivals. No, like, I'm like,
yeah.
These haunts traveled
right
from far and wide or wherever they're from, and they came and visited. And that's the same thing when I go and visit haunts. Like, I go and visit, I'm traveling to you.
Yeah.
It could be 3, 4, 5, 6 hour drive, but when we get there, it's a great time. We get to see what you do. Every haunt is so unique. Like, there's props that they can buy from one convention or another, but there's always something unique at every single one. And that's what I love about them. Like, haunts, I feel like are like an artistic expression.
For sure.
Nothing's ever the same there. And how they do things, what they train their actors to do, what the actor does in the scene, how they bring it to life, just everything. It's, I don't know, I'm obsessed with it. And
it's good though, man.
I'm already looking at calendars and haunts and seeing who's open before we are.
Yeah.
Den Schoolhouse September 17th is our opening day. Just throwing it out there.
Yeah, put it out there, man.
Den Schoolhouse September 17th when we're going to open. So some haunts open earlier than that, and I'm looking at them, seeing where we're going to go, and I'm trying to get my crew together to be like, hey, we're going to visit here. Try to, it's like our own preseason tour.
Yeah.
I love doing it. I love seeing other haunts.
Fear Columbus, I think, opens September 10th.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly.
I feel like
that's crazy.
I feel like I saw them. It was either Valentine's this year or St. Patrick's. Well, and this was after they became Fear Columbus.
Right.
Got to see what some of they're doing. But Marco's already talked about many of the changes. Well, he hasn't revealed what they were, but he said
Yeah.
hey, some things you remember are gone. So
Yeah.
Fear Columbus, that I definitely look forward to checking out what they have going on.
Yeah, I talked to somebody that was working down there too, and he said, yeah, they changed this whole thing, and they were like, he was telling me, I don't want to give it away, but he was telling me about it, and I was just like, dude, that's going to be killer.
Yeah.
You know, he made it sound like it was going to be, something to see. So Fear Columbus, another one. Check it out, and it's open early. It's September 10th. Now that's the Ink weekend. I can't be there then, but I definitely want to check that out for sure because I haven't been there.
Well, they probably have one of the most available schedules. Like the farther you go into October, they keep adding a day into the week to where I think the last week of October, I think they're open on a Tuesday.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, it may be a Wednesday. I'm not sure, but I remember when they were 13th floor, they were already doing that, and now as Fear Columbus, they're still making themselves pretty available throughout the week. So I mean, that if you're a haunter, that's an easy one to visit.
Yeah, for sure. And those, that's another thing. Like everyone talks about, well, you got this cool building, and I'm like, yeah, it's pretty badass building. But could you imagine this building in like Cincinnati or Cleveland or Columbus, like a major market? Look at Eastern State Penitentiary.
Yeah.
Who put on an amazing show. I've never been there. I've just heard like so many good things.
Yeah.
But they're in Philadelphia, and they've got this old, crazy looking prison that they're in. Dude, they kill it. Almost, can you imagine putting this building in, a giant city? It'd be nuts. You could do those days. Well, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
I think you sit lovely in between Columbus and Cleveland. I mean,
we do.
Pulling from those markets, but but I get it though. If you were in Cleveland,
it is nuts. Like almost perfect an hour each to each one.
Yeah.
From Cleveland to Columbus, we're an hour from Cleveland, an hour from Columbus. But an hour is still an hour, especially on Thursday, especially for a younger, you know what I mean? So it's just like, if it's in Cleveland, it's not a big deal.
Right.
That's just how it rolls sometimes, but.
Look, this building has so much hype about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know you guys do amazing as it is.
Oh, no, we do good. We do really good. And it's, I love it here. I wouldn't change it for the world. Slipknot's going to be playing, their music in the front of this building in Mansfield, Ohio. It's going to be awesome.
It will be.
Yeah,
Incarceration.
It's going to be good.
So since we were talking about haunts visiting haunts, I wanted to make a press release if I could.
Of course, go right ahead.
So I know I'm reading this from a phone, but I just got this today. So if you don't mind.
No.
A haunter only discount and celebration at the Dent Schoolhouse. September 30th is going to be our haunter night from 7:30 to 10.
Wow.
So admission for haunters is only going to be $13 that day, and that includes entry to the Dent Schoolhouse. To receive the haunter night discount, haunts will come and they need to be wearing their haunt swag, so showing off their jackets, beanies, t-shirts, hoodies, etc. Be proud, show off your haunt.
Right.
And, you get a discounted ticket. For those that are really considering coming, we are cash only, but we have ATMs on site.
Yep.
So you get a nice discount showing up.
That's killer.
We want to be able to welcome haunts because we know, like I was telling you about the feeling I get when I visit other haunts. I love visiting. I love being there. And we want, people to feel welcome to come visit us. And so we hope that, September 30th, we get to see all of you great, wonderful haunts out there come visit. It's a Thursday night, September 30th. So it's the last Thursday in September. We figure Thursday is probably a more accessible night for people. Yes, it's a Thursday, but everybody's busy on October 1st, Friday. So consider coming out to see a Dent Schoolhouse. Oh, yeah, and there'll be opportunities to win some Dent Schoolhouse swag as well. So
there you go.
Come on down.
I can't commit fully, but if we can, we'll try and get. That's the night before we open, but I've never been to Dent. I've been trying to get down there. We almost went to the Christmas thing that one year, but we didn't. Something came up. We weren't able to go. We'll see what we can do.
Well, we're open on Thursday, September 30th, and you'll get a discount if you come.
Well, thank you, Max. I appreciate that. No, we'll see what we can do. That's a trek. But you know, it is what it is. We've drove before, so yeah, that'd be kind of cool. We'll see what we can do.
Absolutely.
I'd love to do it. And if you're, you know, a haunter anywhere, get down there and check it out.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. This is, definitely not just Ohio haunts, any haunt. If you show up and
Yeah.
I mean, I love it when I get to meet somebody from a haunt I have not been exposed to yet or learned about. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, where are you? What do you do? What's it like? This is typically what my time at conventions are like.
Yeah.
I was just at the Haunters Against Hate event in Louisville,
Yeah.
and there were several haunts there that were that I hadn't heard of yet. There was a Circle of Screams from the northeast corner of Pennsylvania. So I got to hear from them about their haunt and what they do and everything, make those contacts. And I love hearing about, different haunts and everything.
Yeah.
So,
And you're kind of a tri-state area down there in Cincy. You're like Ohio, Indiana, Kentucky's all kind of right there. Yeah.
yeah.
How
Yeah.
far is Louisville from Cincinnati?
I feel like it was only about an hour and a half.
Yeah. That's not too far.
I feel like that's accurate.
Yeah.
It's an hour and a half to 2 hours, I think. So it wasn't far.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean that's a cool thing about Cincinnati, and you give about an hour to an hour and a half in any direction. I mean, Dayton above, Columbus northeast,
Right.
Louisville, Lexington south, Indianapolis west. I mean it's a nice. I mean, Cincinnati is awesome by itself, but if you love haunts, there's several places to hit in Cincinnati. Louisville has a ton. Indianapolis has a ton.
Yeah.
Dayton is growing their market. Columbus, I mean, Carnage has a brand new building that they are debuting, that they just debuted for an off-season event, but even more will be available. I mean, did you get a chance to see it yet?
Carnage?
Yeah.
No, I went to the old place, like when the last year Midwest was in Columbus. I think they opened up for that. And we went to the old place, but I haven't been to the new place.
Oh, you're going to love the new place.
Yeah?
New place is nuts. They took this bowling alley and just took out all the lanes and everything, and it's so much more space. The beautiful thing about it is that you got to see some for the last, for this event that they just had, and then they're going to be opening up a second part for the actual season. And then if you come back the year later, the third part will be done and ready. So you can keep going there like, 3 different times, and there's going to be something new every single time. I know,
cool.
Jason and Mia have been at it, and it looks amazing.
Yeah, they I think she was up here maybe last summer or the summer before. I can't remember. Wasn't that long ago though, and she come up, and I think she was just touring the building. Mm-hmm. She brought, I think, her kids up, and they did a tour of the reformatory, and we were just here working. And she saw Bryant and started talking to him. And she was like, "Oh, I'm from Carnage. Is there any way we can come down and see some stuff?" We're like, "Oh, yeah, sure." So we brought her downstairs, showed her the basement, and we, talked, of course, haunt stuff. And so, yeah,
Mia's
definitely.
amazing.
Yeah, very nice.
I love her to death. She is awesome. And she's done these great things like she'll drive to a convention. Like she's driven to New Orleans before, right?
That's a long drive.
That is a long drive. And then while driving back, she stops at a haunt that she's picking something up from and gives up her seat for the prop and pretty much is sitting on the floor for the rest of the way back from New Orleans. She's so committed to
That's devotion right there, folks.
It is. She is awesome.
So, Maximus, I've seen you at conventions. I've seen you here and everything, but I've never seen you actually acting.
Yeah.
That is, and I've seen pictures online and everything. What got you into it?
Into acting.
Yeah, like, just haunted attractions.
Well, into haunted attractions in general.
Sure. Or,
Okay.
Any kind of acting, really. I don't know if you're on the stage or...
No, I never did theater.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, theater kids annoyed me. Like, they... like, I'm sorry if you're a theater kid.
Yeah.
But this is what they would do.
Stop being annoying.
Well, they would go to their practices, right? And
Yeah.
then during the school day, about a week before their show would start, they were skipping class like crazy.
Yeah.
Like, constantly leaving class. Like, well, we got to leave because our play. I'm like, I never got to leave class for football or wrestling or, tennis or anything. So, what in the world?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Theater is one of those things, like, you put so much effort into practice for 3 nights. It drives me nuts.
Yeah.
Whereas haunted houses, you put in all the effort for a month to month and a
Right.
half, and
Yeah.
then you can build upon it onto the next year. I did just have my first theater experience at the end of 2019.
Yeah.
That was my first time doing it. I had like 3 lines. But acting and a haunt in general,
How'd you get into that?
well, okay, so I had a home haunt, have one in Springfield.
Okay.
And I don't know what the official start date of that home haunt is, because I think a local Halloween shop had a Midnight Syndicate CD, and I took it home, took out my CD player out onto the front porch, stuck it in, played it, dressed up in costume, and just waited for the kids to show up and, like, you know, sometimes charged them, sometimes flinched at them. But, you know, I always had my Midnight Syndicate CD going,
Yeah.
right?
There you go.
My church put on a haunted house in the catacombs. Like, my church is almost 175 years old.
Wow.
Like 1850-ish, I think, is when it was built. In the basement, catacombs. And the older kids always put on like a fundraiser haunted house and went through. I thought it was amazing. I loved it. I loved it. Like, especially that adrenaline rush you got through after you made it through the first time. And then it went away for some reason. And then when I was in high school, I tried to bring it back. Like, I had a friend that had some lights. I had a friend that had an electric chainsaw. I had costumes I collected. Oh yeah, I'm also born on Halloween, so like a lot of my birthday parties were costume parties. So there was there was an accumulation of costuming. So you might have said it was a birthright.
Yeah,
that I got
for
into
sure.
the haunts. And then I think it was 2012 where the neighborhood, when trick or treating, we had maybe, I don't know, 10 kids at the most. Then my neighborhood said, look, we want to have more kids. So we're going to have some events at the nearby church, like, you know, some games and stuff like that. We're going to close off the streets so kids can cross the street safely. And we were wondering, Max, would you put on a little bit of a haunted trail? I was like, okay, sure. So I set up some floodlights. I had friends that, you know, put on costumes, and we walked down my backyard and back. That was the beginning of the home haunt.
Yeah.
Is kind of how it is. At the time, it was unnamed. And so I did that for 3 years. 2015, I moved down to Cincinnati for work. I found a job in the juvenile courts, and I moved down there. And I lived in a condo, so I didn't have a yard anymore. And at that point, I thought, well, why don't I work for a pro haunt? So I'm asking friends, like, you know, what's the haunts in the area?
Right.
And so I'm looking at all the websites for, you know, there was Mount Healthy Haunted Hall, there was the USS Nightmare, and Dent Schoolhouse. And when I found Dent Schoolhouse's website, I was amazed by it. Like, you know, it was pretty well done website. And then you look online and you find the stories about the Charlie the Janitor, and I just went down that rabbit hole, and I decided to apply and went for it. So 2015 was my first year acting. There was no acting really experience before then. That was just, I mean, I put on my home haunt, but
Right.
you know, I didn't act.
So you've done a home haunt of your own for your church and everything, and then the Dent Schoolhouse. So that's your experience in haunting right there.
Yeah, I mean, that's so, you know, I did Dent Schoolhouse for 2 years, and then I brought back my home haunt after 2 years.
Okay.
So I've done Dent Schoolhouse, and I decided to give my home haunt a name, and I made a Facebook page for it, Fright on Fountain Backyard Haunt, Springfield, Ohio, if anybody wants to follow that.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. And
That's
so,
new.
yeah, and, you know, I take some of the things I've learned from Dent and, like, as far as acting, and I applied it there. But, no, it was falling in love with the story at the Dent Schoolhouse. The story, like, when you look online at the YouTube videos and everything, you kind of learn about the legend of Charlie, and you get so engrossed into it to where, you know, like, the building is creepy. It's a kind of a cool building in itself.
Yeah.
And the story, and you find out what happened to the kids, and you know, the place is haunted, and, like, it wasn't just a haunted house. You felt like you were actually in a weird thing that happened in history. And that's what I loved about it. Like, it felt real, like a real haunted place. And I loved it. And acting there was difficult. Man, acting's hard.
It is.
I almost quit my first 2 nights.
Wow, you were going to be one of those, huh?
I was.
Yeah.
They gave me a chainsaw, and I'm out in the secondary attraction called the Queen City Slaughter Yard. I couldn't get the chainsaw to work. And so I just stayed in my box, and I'm like, what do I do? The chainsaw won't go. The manager walks by. Now, when the manager walks by, we still have to act on them. Like, we can't stop acting. So the manager walks by, Terry at the time, and he walks by my box, and then he, looks over his shoulder like, you going to come out? Or
what's going on here? Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
The chainsaw won't work, and I was exhausted because, I'm doing this like a million times, and it just won't go, and I thought I was going to be fired.
Yeah.
Second night wasn't much better. It was so physically exhausting.
Yeah.
So like we've at Dent Schoolhouse we've interviewed and hired some new people, and a lot of them I've reached out to them, and a lot of them have asked for advice already. And I wish there was just a way that I could convey to them, like, look, this is going to be harder than you think it is.
Yeah.
This is physically draining. It hurts and everything. So it's. Oh yeah, that's all. I mean, I feel like I'm better now. I'm more prepared.
Right. You got some years under your belt.
A few years.
You know what to expect. And so, how did the Pumpkin Smasher? How did that come to be?
So, one disclaimer I have to make: all the characters at the Dent Schoolhouse belong to the Dent Schoolhouse. So,
okay.
Charlie, Zobo, Pumpkin Smasher, the School Marm, those are all Dents. Pumpkin Smasher isn't mine. Now, what has kind of happened is that, and I wasn't even the first Pumpkin Smasher. There was 4 Pumpkin Smashers before me. Nice. And so I've just been, I think this is safe to say, I've been able to have the privilege of portraying the Pumpkin Smasher the longest out of all of them. So a lot of people in the haunt community, as I've talked to them and I tell them what I've done at Dent, I've gotten associated with the Pumpkin Smasher a lot. But it's important for me to say he exists with or without me. If I were to ever quit, Pumpkin Smasher would keep going.
Somebody else would do it, yeah.
Somebody did him before me. Somebody's going to do him after me, until the point that I think they decide to kill him off or something, which I don't know when that's going to be.
Could be tomorrow.
Yeah. So Pumpkin Smasher, I think, Dent Schoolhouse introduces characters every now and then. Charlie the janitor was, the famous one. And then they introduced a character called Geister, which was a pumpkin that came to life and started taking revenge out on humans that were carving his family. So, a room was created where there's a lot of humans with jack-o'-lantern carved faces because Geister's been sawing at them.
Right. That's cool.
Then came a character called Pumpkin Smasher, who his face has kind of been mangled by Geister. And when he was just a little boy, Geister went at him and messed his face up. So now Pumpkin Smasher is getting revenge on Geister. And since Pumpkin Smasher, Zobo has been introduced. And since then, Dr. Dent has been introduced. And DS6, one of his experiments, has been introduced. So what you'll notice out front is that all those characters are the schoolhouses, and most of them, well, pretty much all of them have have the masks on, right?
Yeah.
Because that way, if any of those actors weren't there anymore, somebody needs to fill in those spots.
Right.
And so, like I said, Pumpkin Smasher, his story will continue with or without me. And,
right.
I've just been lucky enough to play.
Did you ask to play that part, or did they say, "Hey, man, you want to try this out?"
Yeah.
Or?
I went for him 3 times before I got him.
Oh, nice. Okay.
I failed 3 times before I finally got him. And there came a point where I admit I kind of gave up because it's a thing. A lot of actors want to be in the queue line. That's just, That's just what they're pushing for. And I wanted to be in the queue line, but I guess my pumpkin smashing wasn't quite what they were looking for. And then I worked with Terry more. He got me more into the in-depth of character building. Like, look, what are some of your traits? And he says to me, you love attention, and you can sometimes be aggressive, but you're also friendly, and you're socially awkward. He says to me, I'm like, excuse me? He's
Am I now?
Yeah. He says that. I'm socially awkward. And I'm like, okay, what's your point? You need to take all these things and times them by 10.
Right.
And then I think you'll find what you're looking for. And I worked at it. And then finally I got to be what I think they were looking for. And when you're working those characters, I could get pulled at any moment, you know, like they're like, we don't like what you're doing. Go away. Go into a different scene or something. So I have to, not only do I have to keep earning that character, I have, you know, I mean, yeah, that's what I have to do. Keep earning him.
Wow, really?
At any point I could get pulled and, you know,
so they'll take you out of the queue line and say, yeah, you're in a scene tonight.
They have done that, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that typically, like a Thursday or Sunday, they'll typically put me in a scene. So, and that's what I have to do as an actor is be willing to go anywhere that they tell me to.
Right.
I know there are haunts out there where people come with their own character and, you know, they want to portray that character. But, you know, we have created a culture that says, look, we have a story here. And with that story, we have spots to fill. And if, you know, you bring your own character and it doesn't fit this classroom or this kitchen or, you know, this room, you know, you need to
adjust.
You need to adjust.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's typically how it goes. And if, you know, I have to be perfectly prepared to come in and they tell me, well, no, you're going to be in the this drop window tonight. And if that's what they tell me, that's what I got to do. But if I get to be Pumpkin Smasher, then I go out there and try to entertain the crowds as much as I can. And it's been a lot of fun. I tell you, what.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun in the queue line. But I almost passed out my first night of
really?
queue lining. Oh yeah, you're wearing that mask. It's so hot. You're running around. You're running around more than you are in a normal scene. I feel like because you're outside chasing people, interacting.
Right.
I feel like I almost got heat exhaustion that first night I did it.
Yeah.
I wasn't used to the mask yet and everything. It was.
Is that what kind of mask is it?
It's a silicone.
Silicone. Yeah. See, those will. I mean, masks are hot no matter what they're made out of. But yeah, it gets hot under there, man.
It was hot, and it was like another layer of skin and all this sweat and everything. That was rough to adjust to, but I tell you, Vic, I've had so much fun as Pumpkin Smasher, and I know that Dent doesn't like that character gets associated with me specifically. That's not what's supposed to happen.
I see. Yeah.
He's supposed to be his own thing. Like,
right.
You know, when they're selling Pumpkin Smasher merch, that's not Maximus merch. That's Pumpkin Smasher. And that's how, you know, it's supposed to be. But damn it, am I having fun with it.
Well, and everybody,
it's a lot of fun.
especially like me or whoever it is, you know, that knows you. You just know that's your character. Or, you know, the character you play.
Right.
Did they give you like any free reign, like character development with it? Or is it like, this is Pumpkin Smasher, this is what he's done, this is what he's going to do? Or did they give you some...
They said what they wanted him to be. They told me Pumpkin Smasher has to be an alpha male type personality that makes fun of everybody and puts people down, but everybody's still supposed to like him. And I was like, well, how in the hell do you do that? And then they kind of likened him to this uncle that comes and picks on you, but then will hug you and give you a noogie. Oh, you know, I'm just messing with you type of uncle. I compared him to like, he's like you know, those Adam Sandler films, O'Doyle Rules. He's kind of like an O'Doyle Rules mixed.
Oh my gosh.
Mixed with just, you know, a diva. Like he loves attention. Like if people ask for photos from him, he's like, of course you want a photo with me. You know, so, you know, that core, that base is what I was given. From there, I had to kind of see what happened or, you know, make it happen. So, you know, it came to be, it manifested itself in a way where Pumpkin Smasher would notice that, hey, here's a group of teenagers. They have their cell phone out. Okay, well, I'm just going to go take their cell phone and film myself. Be like, Pumpkin Smasher here at the Dent Schoolhouse, and I'm here with these little twerps, and, you know, shove the phone in their face, and they're like, oh, no, they're filming me. And, and then I'm like, well, they're here, and they're brave enough. Where's the rest of you? And then I will send that video to all their friends on Snapchat. And so that's typically what he kind of does. He walks around. If it's a guy, he squares up with them. If it's a girl, he tries to creep them out. But also, you know, and he takes tips too. You know, somebody will be like, hey, you see that guy over there? Scare him. Yeah. Oh hell yeah! And just went at it. And,
right. That's good stuff.
I mean, it's good. It's good getting advice from the crowd like that.
Yeah.
Being in the queue line's fun. Exhausting. Sweating, but a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's got to be, that's what you, like you mentioned earlier, a lot of people that they're striving to become one of those, I want to be in the queue line. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Some of them don't. Some of them are fine in a scene and they don't want to do anything. And that's their, I'm good here. I'm good jumping out of this window. I'm good jumping out from under this table. But most of them, yeah, they want to get out there.
Right. And, I mean, there's no reason to hide it. At the end of the season, when you look up Dent Schoolhouse photos that people have taken themselves, you typically see Charlie Ajander or Zobo the Clown or Pumpkin Smasher. Like a lot of that ends up out there. So, there's something nice about that, being able to, like, at the end of the night, look up photos that were taken at the Dent Schoolhouse on Instagram and then see yourself all over the place. That's pretty nice.
Yeah.
It is tiring, though. I do miss the ability to hide and then make a pop scare. I do miss that. And typically on Thursdays and Sundays I get to do it because I like just popping out, getting real close to you. We don't touch, but, getting real close, getting that intense pop scare. You can't do that in queue line because, I mean, you can kind of, if you're running around something or you can catch people off guard, you can do it. But somebody's always watching you. You're kind of always on. And so you can't really ever break character in that way. And there's something to that, I think, where you're in a scene, you hit, you do your thing, and then you get a chance to reset, get the next group, hit, do your thing, change it up a little bit. Like when I was in a scene as a chef, I had about, I don't know, 6 to 8 different things I'd run through. Some of them was trying to get them to smell my food. Some of them were trying to force feed them beef jerky. Some of it was, it was all kinds of different stuff, and you can have fun with it. And that's what I think people should remember. First, self-preservation. Take care of yourself. Hydrate. Eat well. Don't eat that greasy crap constantly. And then third, once you establish that, now you can start having fun because you will survive the night.
Yeah. We preach that a lot. I mean, I'm sure you guys do as well, but I can't, I wish I had a dime for every time I've said, put the Monster and the NOS and the Red Bulls away and drink water.
Yeah.
That's what you need. That's what's going to help you stay hydrated.
Yeah.
And this is going to make you crash, but they need the energy, and they start drinking that. And I'm like, it's not energy, dude.
Yeah,
that's fake energy.
No, the pop and the energy drinks, they just don't do it. The hydration, and and even certain foods. Like I've gotten used to eating an Arby's roast beef, like with no sauce, no melted cheese, just the bread and the meat, and that's usually my go-to meal before the haunting because it doesn't mess with my stomach. It doesn't do too much. It's a long night. You're putting thousands of people through. And you're acting on all of them, and you're on and you're moving and everything. You gotta take care of yourself.
Yeah.
So I wish maybe that's got to be a training that's more spread out, is self-care and everything. Because I just don't feel like at the beginning of the season is going to happen. After the first few nights, people are like, oh my goodness, this was difficult.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. The one guy I had on a couple episodes ago, Ed, owns a haunt across town here in Mansfield called the Trail of Nightmares. And he was telling us about a time that somebody brought in a bunch of cookie dough and everyone was eating all this raw cookie dough.
Huh.
And he said, dude, we lost so many people that night because they were getting, I was just like, oh my gosh, are you kidding? And it's just like, man, why would they do that? Now, like people will come in like with us, they'll bring, Taco Bell or Chipotle or McDonald's, whatever it is before they come in. I'm just like, we try to put stuff out like, halfway through the night. We start giving breaks around 9, and then we'll do like, like bananas and granola bars. We'll put some chips out there, little bags of chips.
Yeah.
Things like that, trail mix packets or peanuts, and of course water, because that's all I get. I'm like, nope, there's no pop, there's no energy drinks. The only thing I'm supplying, water.
Yeah.
Because that's what you need, that's what. And people eat it, you know what I mean? Because we were actually surprised. We were doing, usually it was like cookies and, things like that. Because we was like, well, people are going to eat this little, things of Oreos or some shit. Yeah, I don't know. Some, things, snacks along those lines. And then we brought in some apples and bananas one time and they were like, dude, they're all gone.
Yeah.
And they ate them. So we were like, well, let's start doing that. Let's start keeping that going, just because it's better for you. And if you're an actor, I want
the cookies. I mean, I do want them.
Yeah.
But
They're not going to help you
no.
3 hours in, especially on the weekend before Halloween. And you've got, 3,000 to 5,000 people outside wanting to get in, and you're going to be there till 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
That's not, a cookie's not going to help you. An apple and water, and you're hearing it here, you're saying it, we've said it. It's the real deal.
Yeah.
You
you definitely got to take care of yourself, and I've been on more of a workout regimen now, hoping that actually helps my performance, because I used to weigh like 310 pounds. I'm now like 265. So
nice.
I'm hoping to keep going. I mean, they've threatened me. They said you don't look like Pumpkin Smasher anymore. You've lost too much weight. They've threatened me. So I'm kind of like, oh.
Well, just give me something to fill my costume
I know,
up with,
like,
man.
give me a pillow, I guess.
Yeah.
I think it'll be fine. But I mean, so it's, but it's just good to, have that kind of healthy lifestyle and everything. And the reason for this is because I love my haunt family. I really do.
Yeah.
The people I work with, like when I worked at Dent that first year, I worked that whole season, right? I got to the end of it. At the end of the season, I was so happy it was done. I was exhausted. I was tired. I wasn't even sure if I was going to come back the next year.
Yeah.
But then, since I made it through the season, a lot of the other actors, they start inviting me to events. They're going karaokeing. I'm going karaokeing. We're meeting up. We're having drinks at the bar. We're socializing.
Yeah.
So I came for the scaring, but I stand by this. I have stayed for the family.
Yeah.
So, if you're a haunt out there, try to think about how you cultivate your haunt culture.
Mm-hmm.
And because I feel like the haunt family is how people stay. So now it's kind of a known thing that when we get new actors, I'm one of the first ones that trying to shake their hands and be like, hey, how are you? I'm Max. And, welcome. You have somebody you can talk to, ask for advice, that kind of thing. I want you to feel welcome. It doesn't always work. We still lose people.
Sure.
To it, but, I want people to feel welcomed at least.
Yeah.
And that's my goal.
And that's good, though, because, I mean, it isn't easy. It isn't something that, and we're the same way. It's like, look, this is something that it's going to take a toll on you. But by the end of the season, that Sunday, we'll leave and we'll say our goodbyes. And we always have a big party. A week later, we'll have a big party, and, we'll give Actor of the Year awards and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
You're going to miss it. We call it haunt depression because, oh man, that's it. It's over. You've just bonded with all these people. You've made new friends. You've been in the trenches, because there's some nights, that you jump out and get your scare, and then there's a fist waiting for you. You've went through some shit. Yeah. You know what I mean? I mean, really, you have.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't understand that either. It's just like, you could jump out to scare somebody, and you could get, blasted one.
Yeah.
Because someone's like, oh, and they just react, or they're just jerks.
Yeah.
And they do it. Just, and then we got to chase them down with security. I had a few people taken out of here last year, not.
Right. No, it happens. And
it's ridiculous, but it does happen, So when you make those connections with people in your scene or in your zone, you kind of form that friendship, and, it's like, oh man, it's over. And then we have a big party and everyone's like, having drinks and like, oh man, it sucks. So that's another reason why we want to do the off-season events, and then do the cookout maybe, or during the summer, or, just get people back together, Yeah.
I feel like that depression hits me typically January, February. Like it's definitely after the holidays.
Yeah.
Like I've spent a lot of time away from my family for haunting. So Thanksgiving, and in my family, Advent is pretty big. And then Christmas, and New Year's, we have traditions for the whole thing. So after those things happen, that's usually when that really missing it kind of sets in. I mean, this last year was rough because we tried to follow some COVID guidelines. I mean, not some. We tried to follow all of them to where, the actors, were to turn in their costumes, and then they were to leave. typically in typical years, we would be able to hang out a little bit, share war stories or, have a meal, that kind of thing. Couldn't do it this last year. And I feel like that, that was an unfortunate consequence because I want them to be able to say, you know what, I had a great night, or, night started off a little rough, but by the middle of it, I was, going great. Hey, did you guys remember this one person that came through? Oh, they were hilarious. Or, this one couple, they ran through the entire haunt. And
yeah,
it's really great to process it and, be able to have the actors be able to, share those stories and share those experiences,
right,
and everything. And, it maybe even ask for advice or anything like that. It's a beautiful part about it. And I've always been saying that haunt season is rough and it's long and it's hard. I could not do it without my haunt family. I barely made it through the year one without, I yes, the haunt family was there, but like I was a new person, people didn't know if I was going to stick around. People didn't know, what all I was about. My going this long, can't do it without the haunt family.
Yeah.
So, love your haunt brothers and sisters.
Yeah, you need them.
You do.
Yeah.
I firmly believe that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, last year was difficult. It was. And that's where that those family bonds really help.
Yeah.
I mean, we did the, I mean, we were, I don't want to say we, it wasn't like, all right, we're over, get out. We still did our normal thing as far, because at that point it was like, we've been around each other, it's just like, we've been here all day, all night, whatever, it is what it is. And we really came through pretty unscathed. We had, I think, one person on the crew and one actor. But the funny thing about that was the guy on the crew, he had went to a convention in Pittsburgh and came back and tested positive. And the one actor was worked at a hospital. So
they're constantly exposed.
That could have been, I'm not saying they didn't get it here, they did get it here.
Right.
But, they think I don't think I got it there.
Yeah.
They think they got it from wherever they was, but it was, we had to do what you had to do. And I think it helped. I mean, I don't want to say helped, but it strengthened the bonds of your crew.
Well, I think having gone through the COVID year together, we're always going to have those memories. But I remember it just being strict. As soon as you got on the property, you had to have the mask on. When going and waiting for makeup, they put tape on the chairs you were allowed to sit in.
Oh, wow.
And all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
To the point where at the end of the night we had to stay very separate. When turning our costumes back in, all the costumes got washed every single night, and everything's disinfected and extra. I feel like, but that it's what you had to do to make it through the season. The Cincinnati Health Department, I feel like, was watching us, and we tried to do a lot. We even had about 6 people out front with 6-foot length of PVC pipe, sticking it in between groups, being like 6 feet apart.
Wow. Like in queue lines?
Yeah, in the queue line.
Oh my gosh.
So like I'm running around, trying to act and everything, and we're like, people aren't separating, great, and people are putting their masks down, great. Okay, so comes the creation of COVID police.
Yeah.
So we had 6 people invest in the 6-foot length of PVC pipe. They went through the queue line, separating the groups and reminding everybody to put their masks on, which I really appreciate, because when I'm acting, how far do I need to break character in order to tell someone, hey, put your mask on? Or, I can do it in character maybe a couple of times, but if they're refusing to do it, there comes a point where I would have to break character and be like, dude, listen, you're going to get kicked out if you don't put the mask on. So that's why I appreciated the COVID police a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, I really appreciate what the haunt tried to do to, meet all the guidelines and make it happen. Otherwise, I was fearing it wouldn't happen.
Yeah. Well, that's true. I mean, we all had to jump through those hoops.
Yeah.
And it sucks. And hopefully this year will be better. I don't know if we're necessarily out of the woods yet, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll do what we got to do again. I'm sure you guys will do the same,
Yeah, I think, we have all those policies we had last year in place, and we can go back to those, or whatever's necessary.
We've been doing it. We've got all the stuff, so if we have to, but I hope we don't have to.
Nobody wants to.
I don't want to put my actors in masks no more, man. It's like, man, I got great makeup artists here that, I'm like, I want them to shine. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I hope we get to do the makeup.
So those COVID masks, I actually wore one underneath the silicone for like a few weeks.
Ow.
That was a terrible idea. As soon as the thing got wet, I can't breathe, because as soon as you inhale, it's
sweat.
It sucks up and everything. It was terrible. So there came a point where I'm like, can we just draw a mouth on it and wear it on the outside? Actually kind of create a cool effect, because the pumpkin masher mask has really cool looking freaky teeth.
Yeah.
So we draw a little mouth on it, and they're like, oh, there's your mask. I'm like, oh, do you want to see what's underneath? And I'll quickly like pull it out, show them my real mouth. You wouldn't think that would have an impact, but it did.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, that's what it looks like. And then, throw it back real quick. It was an interesting little thing that happened. And I don't know if it's I hope it's unique to 2020, but if we got to do it again, so be it. And
right. Yeah.
I mean, I hope not, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. Me neither. So you mentioned earlier, and I talked to you at Transworld, that you have involvement with the Haunted Attraction Network.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing interviews for those guys. So what are you doing for them exactly?
That started. So last year, I created a YouTube video series about all the haunts that were going to open in Ohio. Mm-hmm. And I split Ohio into 4 parts. I don't know if you watched them, but how I broke Ohio up, I think some people might argue with. It was pretty much Dayton to Toledo was one video, Cincinnati and Southern Ohio was one, Columbus and East Ohio, and then the whole Cleveland area.
Right.
And I just created a video where I talked about every single haunt that was opening. I said, this haunt will open on this day for these days, and so on and so forth. I hired a guy off of Fiverr to do all the video editing and everything. And I thought it turned out pretty well. Yeah. And I did it because I wasn't sure what the attendance was going to look like. Like I really wondered if people were going to come out. So I was like, you know what? Maybe people are also wondering which haunts are going to open. Okay, so I'm just going to go through everybody's Facebook pages and websites and figure it out. And then I made the videos and put it out. Phil from Haunted Attractions Network saw it. He saw the videos and he's like, hey, those are great. Do you want to come on and be like our Ohio liaison and give like weekly updates? So I think you may remember that I even talked to you part of the way through the season. I was like, hey, when are you actually I think you had to change your opening date or something like that.
We did. Yeah.
And so I had to be like, hey, what's happening? And so each week I went on the Attractions Network and I gave an Ohio update. I would say, hey, this haunt reported in what's been going on. This haunt's reported in that they're changing how they're doing their ticketing. Denton Schoolhouse changed to time ticketing partway through the season. I updated it on there then. So I'm kind of, I guess you would call me a contributor.
Okay.
I interview some haunts, different parts of the season, sometimes midway through the season. A post-mortem I did with several, like I did one with you, I believe.
Yeah, we did.
And then I've done some preseason build update interviews. I've done interviews at conventions. I'm basically just, doing some interviews, some content, submitting it, and then Phil takes it and puts it part of his schedule and then puts it out there. So I'm kind of, because he's based in California. And so I, here in Ohio is where I mainly focus. I mean, I need not limit myself to Ohio, but it's just, I don't know. I pick a geographic area and those are the haunts I'm trying to promote. I did just do an interview with Travis from American Horrorplex, so that one will be coming up soon. And he's out of Louisville, Kentucky. So that just happened from Phil seeing those videos and asking me to be a contributor. And then he lent me out to Haunt Topic Radio for Transworld.
Nice.
Yeah, he was like, hey, we have Max. He's going. You can give him a microphone. He'll just interview people. He likes doing that. So I did that, and I kind of did it again for the Haunters Against Hate event. I went around, interviewed some vendors and stuff like that. So I contribute, I guess you would call it.
Well, that's cool. It keeps you, in the industry. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It keeps you talking about Halloween and haunted attractions and traveling.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Yeah, it is. And it gives me a platform. I thought about making videos and posting it on the Ohio Haunters page, but that page has about 3,500 followers on it, and but Haunted Attractions Network, it's a much larger audience and also more widespread.
Yeah.
And so I thought it was useful for me to say to a haunt, maybe a very small one in Ohio, hey, I'm going to put you on this platform.
Right.
And then we'll share the bejesus out of it. Typically when they post something that I did, I post it onto all the groups I can. And, it helps me learn more about it. It gives me a chance to talk with people because I love talking with people. I love hearing what they're doing. Some of them have been extremely generous and shown me their haunts. I'm like, look, I'm just going to come out and do a video interview. And they're like, no, let's show you around. And then I get to see the whole thing.
Yeah, there you go.
There's something about being shown a haunt by the owner, like, when it's not running and everything, but it's like they're showing off this beautiful thing that they create. And it is a beautiful thing that they create. And I love when they show it off to me, and they're so excited to do it. And so everybody that I've talked to has been extremely generous, and I'm really appreciative that Phil has given me a platform and that so many people have been willing to talk to me. And my goal is to support the community. I do work for Dent. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But my passions for the industry go beyond Dent. Like, I love, even during this interview, saying the amazing thing that Carnage has done and, Fear Columbus and everything. I don't have an issue doing that. I have no issue saying Blood Prison killed it in the reviews. They absolutely did. Mm-hmm. And that doesn't take away from us at all.
No.
The fact that you guys were doing fantastic. I mean, and we have some haunts near us. When I know there's going to be out of towners from New Orleans and Florida, they're going to come visit this year. Mm-hmm. And, they want to know what haunts to visit. And I'm like, well, let me tell you about some haunts around here. There's an amazing one in two of them in Springfield, Ohio. There's an amazing one in Columbus. There's a great one in Mansfield. And I'm just going to send them all around the damn state because there's so many great haunts. Ohio haunts, I love them. I'm lacking in knowledge of the northeast corner of the state. Hudson Haunted House is the only one I've been able to see.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
So I'm very lacking. I know the Cleveland Haunt Club exists, but I don't know much about Cleveland haunts. But yet, if I ever got a chance to talk with any of them, I'd be glad to. Yeah, because I'd love to learn more about all the haunts in the area.
Well, Cleveland, the Cleveland itself, I think they've got. There's not a lot up there really. I think there's like the 7 Floors of Hell. I think that's at like the fairgrounds they do. Yeah. Which they're there. And Chippewa Lake Slaughterhouse is up near. It's not Cleveland. It's more Medina. But if you haven't been to that one, I recommend it. It's really good, and it's expanding this year. Bloodview, of course. I think there's one at Blossom called Carnival of Horrors. At the Blossom, they have it at the Blossom Music Center. So, and I've never been to there, but it's supposed to be pretty good.
Yeah, I don't think I could be wrong. I feel like they didn't open last season.
I don't think they did. And
that was the thing. When I did those videos, I did the Cleveland haunts. Like, I looked at all their websites, and if they didn't have anything yet, I messaged them. And so I put a video out on the Cleveland haunts and all the way up through Ashtabula County, like, Pioneer Water Park. I learned about them. These are haunts I've never been to, never interacted. I just saw Hudson a few months ago because they had a St. Patrick's Day event. Yeah. It's a JC's haunt. And
it is, yeah.
I have a soft spot for JC's haunts. Like, that's our heritage.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. JC's haunts.
It's your originators.
Right. And I loved seeing it. And I want to be able to see more. And, there's this haunted house restaurant up there in Cleveland. A lot of people are visiting. And I said, if I go up there, I'm going to visit one of these haunts. I'm going to contact somebody to be able to have a conversation with them. Because I don't know what it is. Like, this United States is large. But the haunt community kind of makes it feel small. Like, I'm in constant dialogue with a guy out of Portland. He's a home haunter out there. But, the fact that we have haunting in common, we're talking all the time. Yeah. I love that. And that's just what I want to do. So, Cleveland, I know there's several people up there that I know. I just don't know the haunt specifically, so I can't speak on them. Yeah, yeah. Unlike, I've seen Blood Prison, Mohican Haunt Schoolhouse. I love Mohican. I can't wait for Haunted Hoorah to open. Like, before they closed, I was hearing amazing things. And I was like, I'm going to see them. And then that eminent domain thing happened. I'm like, come on. And then I never got to see them because I thought that was a uniquely themed haunt.
It is. It was. I mean, where it was before, we went actually the last year they were open. And we had a blast. I mean, that was so much fun.
It sounded so cool.
It was. I mean, we had Brent Stooksbury on our second episode, who's the owner, and he told us about where he's moving now and everything. And they are opening in Marion, Ohio this year. Haunted Hoorah. Check it out. It is awesome. It's a great haunt. I've been seeing a lot of pictures of stuff they've posted. He sent me some messages. Hey, we're doing this. It is great. What they do and how they do it.
Yeah.
It is one to see. We are going this year. I hope. I told him when he was here, I was like, I will be at your haunt this year because I want to see it. There's a few I want to see this year for sure before we open. But yeah, I recommend that one. That one is very interactive, and it's the entertainment value that came out of that attraction was just off the charts. We had so much fun. We were jacked the whole way home. You know, when you go to that haunt and you just had so much fun, you know, and it was, Haunted Hoorah. Yeah, definitely hit that one, Max.
I watched that episode, and I'm excited for it because I remember when people were telling me about it at I think it was when MHC was still in Columbus, and then the whole thing happened. I want to see it, and you know, anywhere you go in Ohio, you're gonna come across a great haunt. Like there's a Caledonia, Ohio. There's one called Phobia Haunted Trail.
Yeah,
it's an eco center. Like it's a nature type of thing that they do the haunt as a fundraiser. Well, I got to walk it last year. They have, you know, they're having a blast out there. These actors get to create their characters. They're having these little scenes and they're building upon it. I mean, it's just amazing to see what they're doing. And Caledonia is, it's not
it's tiny.
It's not a big town, but it's an amazing.
It's not far from here.
No, but I love what they do, and I saw and everything that they put on, and even like haunted town hall in Lafayette, Ohio. Lafayette, Ohio I feel like there's...
Is that Wells Township? Is that what that is?
No, that's
something different.
Yeah, this one is closer to Findlay, Ohio.
Oh, okay.
So it's like a little bit south of Ada.
I know where you're at.
Yeah, Lafayette. Yeah. Ned and Dave put that on, and it's in the building that was the town hall, the jail, and the firehouse in Little Lafayette. There's not much else going on in that town. I think there's a Mason Lodge. I don't think there's a gas station there. But this haunt, though, you walk up to it's you know, you can appreciate the fact that some haunts have a building that just looks really cool when you walk up to it. This is one of them. Nice. It's like this is an old historic building. It's in the middle of this town that's kind of like nowhere, but this haunt is fantastic, and they keep building upon it every year. Ned and Dave are great to talk to as well, and they're, you know, friendly, and they love showing off what they're doing. I love it. Oh, and you mentioned Wells.
Yeah, for some reason I was thinking of that. I think I just saw a post of theirs recently.
Have you been there?
No, I haven't. I've met someone from there.
Sean?
No, maybe.
Look,
it's been a while.
Wells, I was there for an off-season event. I don't remember what it was, like the off-season event. I really don't. It might have been St. Patrick's, but it was a lights-out type event.
Yeah.
This Wells Township, this Bryant, Ohio, has a population, I think, of around 800 people.
Yeah.
You wouldn't know it based on that haunt. People were there. Like, they have this whole area that people can just hang out. Picnic tables.
Yeah.
They have a shopping, kind of a trailer with merch. They have a stage. There was a food truck. I mean, like, this was the hangout spot.
Yeah.
I don't think I've been to a haunt that's considered the hangout spot.
Yeah,
Wells Township is it. And
that's cool.
You know, Sean has an amazing, I mean, he's involved with law enforcement there. So, like, I think he has an amazing connection with the community. But if that town has a population of 800, I swear all of that population and more was at that haunted house that day. And it was amazing just because, like, I love going to a haunt that feels like it is a staple of the area. Like, that is a must-see of that area, and it is a gem of that area. So, you know, big shout-out to Wells Township because, like, like, you really got a sense of that community loving that haunt there.
It's great when you find a haunt like that that's in a kind of a smaller town that, like, well, the Haunted Hoorah was like that. I mean, it was in Ashley, Ohio, which is the same way, maybe 800 people. We went to one HauntCon called Rise Haunted House.
Yeah.
down in Tickfaw, Louisiana, if I remember that correctly. And that's just funny because I'm like, that's where are we going? You know what I mean? I'm like, oh my gosh. That haunt was so awesome. And it was like, it was not in New Orleans, you know, because New Orleans, it was about an hour, maybe, well, not quite an hour, maybe like 40, 45 minutes north on the way to Baton Rouge, I think. Just I remember we were on the bus and we're going up there and we get there and I'm like, this is where we're going, this place. And we pull in, I'm just like, there's a haunt here. And it's just like, oh my gosh. And this is like this big Rise haunted house. It was awesome. They put on a great show. And it was, a good example of a destination haunt as far as like well, not really a destination haunt, but you have to go out of your way to get to it. And people do because it's so good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're like, we'll go to Tickfaw because Rise is killer, you know?
Well, the both times I've been to HauntCon, I was working my booth and I didn't do really any of the tours. But Legendary Haunt Tours in like the New Orleans, Baton Rouge area this year. So I'm really thinking about doing
We're going.
because is Rise on the list?
It is.
Yeah. So yeah, I want to do that.
It's Rise 13th Gate.
Which, have you been to that?
No, but Brian Dembski was just there, my set dressing guy, doing the same thing for them, doing a lot of painting and set dressing and everything. He's worked there before, so
13th Gate is currently my favorite haunt outside of my own. But
yeah,
I mean, like,
yeah, Brian talks.
I'm not sure I don't know if you've seen something like this yet, but maybe you have. But I loved it. And then not House of Shock, New Orleans Nightmare.
It used to be the House of Shock. Now it's called the New Orleans Nightmare.
Right. New Orleans Nightmare, Mortuary.
Yes.
Rise and 13th Gate.
Yes, those are the ones that are running for this. And Brian's actually the one that showed me. He's like, dude, check this out. I'm like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Why not? It's right after the season. I mean, it's tough for us because we're going to be right after Teardown, prepping for Christmas.
Yeah.
But it'll be like, you know what? Let's take the weekend and go.
Yeah, just do it.
Yeah.
New Orleans is amazing by itself.
Oh, man, it's such a fun city.
13th Gate is worth the trip by itself.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the other three, but I'm quite sure that they are also amazing. But I didn't even see 13th Gate with actors. I saw it just as a walk. Like, I just walked through it.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I can't say it enough. Wow.
Yeah.
Like that place.
Yeah, that's what Brian said. He goes,
nuts.
dude, it is impressive.
It's very impressive. I don't even know how they do a lot of the stuff that they do, but somehow they've done it. And you know, I'm excited to do it. I'm guessing I'm going to do it. I love New Orleans.
Yeah.
Like, anytime I've gone there, I've spent a day just going through the French Quarter, picturing the iron gates and everything. The architecture gets me. I love architecture. So, that's what I love doing. So it's...
We went to HauntCon. Well, the first time we went to that, it was in Nashville, Tennessee. And we went to the Nashville night. Because, like, when you put a night, whatever, the Denver Nightmare, I don't even know if that's actually true, but Nashville Nightmare, New Orleans Nightmare. It seems to be the 13th floor thing. Yeah, is what that is. But we went to the Nashville Nightmare, and that was just next level. It was so much fun. But then when they went to New Orleans, we got pretty stoked because Nashville is an amazing city. Yeah, New Orleans, just to go and, like you said, the French Quarter and see like the cemeteries. It really is a great Halloween town. And their haunts down there are just awesome. I mean, they're just so fun to go through, and the scenery is great. But when we were down there for HauntCon, we found this bar, just like Bourbon Street's like right here, and I can't remember the name of the street, but we found this bar. We were just kind of dicking around, just exploring. Yeah, you know what I mean, seeing the nightlife and everything. And we found this bar, and it just topped the weekend off because it wasn't Halloween themed, but it was very, like, I guess metal, or
the dungeon.
It was the dungeon.
Yeah.
We've down that, like, that little between those two buildings, that corridor that you just got to go down. And the guy I was with, because it was me and a guy from here at the Reformatory and these two girls that came from the Reformatory. They ended up, because the one got a little too tipsy early on, and they went back to the hotel. And I'm like, dude, it's 8:00. There's no way I'm going back to the hotel right now. We're going to hang out, and, we're going to at least go to Bourbon Street and check it out. And we were on our way there, and we saw this sign. It said the dungeon. I was like, well, that's kind of cool. And I'm like, let's go. And the one dude's like, I ain't going back there. He's looking down there. I ain't going down there. I was like, all right, man, whatever. It's like, then wait here. I'll be right back. And I went down and I kind of stepped in and looked around. I was like, oh my gosh. I went back out. I was like, it's cool, dude. Come on. And we went in and that place was killer.
Yeah.
And finding those places when you get to do that, the traveling and, seeing different cities and all that stuff. Another perk of, kind of doing what we do.
Yeah.
I
think haunting has kind of brought a love of travel in me because, I've gone on some, like Tater was down in Orlando for a birthday and I went down there and that was a lot of fun, seeing all those things. And even Milwaukee, MHC was in Milwaukee. I went up to it. I loved exploring the city. Some weird things happened in the city, but, Tater talked all about it on his episode. But, but I mean, I had a great time.
Yeah.
The food, I ate good, and there were, like I said, I'm big into architecture. There's amazing churches. There's a basilica there that nuts Baroque architecture, and it was great. And the haunts in that pre-bus tour, abandoned haunted house. I hadn't heard of abandoned before that, but then I go on the tour and abandoned just like I saw things there I've never seen anywhere else.
Yeah.
And I feel like that doesn't happen too much anymore, but like there were so many things there. I'm like, I've never seen this. I've never seen this. And their actors were amazing.
Yeah.
I was too drunk for the second haunt. I'll admit that. I was.
Well, it happens,
It happened. I didn't go. Green Bay Scaregrounds, I think it was.
Yeah.
I didn't make that one, but I sobered up by Terror on the Fox.
Got
to see that show. And that was really cool too because they have this amazing like haunt opening show that they do, this big facade building that they have, and another one that looks like a little mausoleum type thing based on I think one that's in Cincinnati. Like we have a cemetery with a Gothic architecture mausoleum, and it looked like the one at Terra Fox. So I bet you that's what it's based on.
Probably,
But I had a lot of fun. I regret not seeing Green Bay, but that's me.
Couldn't handle your liquor, huh?
Well, because Katie was actually
here we go.
There. Katie was acting there.
Okay.
At the Green Bay Fairgrounds, and I get off the bus, and she's like, "Max, you need to go sit down." I'm like, maybe I'll do. And then I go sit down.
Yeah.
So I felt so bad. Katie's trying to act, but.
You're just all drunk and being,
I wasn't being belligerent. I swear.
Yeah. You're just kind of like.
There came a point where I'm like, you know what? I know what it's like to have drunken idiots come through the haunt. I'm not going to be one of them. So I went and sat down and.
Well, that's good to recognize that.
Yeah, I mean, but
know your limit.
Yeah, it was a fun trip though.
That's the other thing. You mentioned Katie again. Talking with her, I'm like, because she'll sit there and say, we were at this haunt and so. Have you ever been there? And I'm like, no, I haven't. She's been to like so many haunts all over the country. Like she was talking about it. And the same with when I had Rick Thomas on, he was the same way because, he's in Mushroom Head. So he tours and he was like, dude, if we're on tour, I'll find the haunt. If we're on tour in that time of year, it's like, where's the haunts at around here? So he's like, dude, I've been to so many. And she was the same way. Where she was just like, I've been to so many haunts all over. And I'm like, man, I'm just so inadequate haunt-wise.
I'm pretty sure she doesn't know a stranger.
Probably not,
but
no.
But this is kind of, like, what she's doing is kind of what I want to attain at some point to where, like, I don't know a stranger in the industry. Yeah. And, you make connections with people and everything. But, the fact that she was working at haunts in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, how'd you wrangle that?
Yeah.
But, that's kind of the amazing thing about this industry is, the people that you can meet and, several people that have even said to me, like, hey, if you ever want to come act, let me know. And I said, okay, well, I have a character I've created myself. Mm-hmm. It's not the one at Dent.
Right.
But because of that, I created a character. I did get to try him out at Mohican for their Send in the Clowns event. I had a lot of fun with it.
Oh, cool.
So that was fun. That's the first time I think I ever acted at another haunt.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Do you get a lot of guest actors at Dent?
No.
Really? Do you guys allow it, or does it just doesn't happen?
I feel like it just doesn't happen. Like when we were first doing our Christmas event, they came to us and they said, okay, who all is going to work the Christmas event? And we all had to sign up and everything. And based on the sign up, actors reached out to Dent and they were like, hey, would you like us to come and act and everything? And they were able to say,
we have what we need.
We have what we need. We don't need it.
Yeah.
So, and I feel like it goes back to what I said earlier. Dent has its own particular story, and guest actors want to bring their own characters and such with them. And it's just hard to know if they are going to fit the story. And if they don't fit the story, well, you're certainly not going to have them out front. So you might put them in a scene. And I don't think a guest actor wants to do that.
Some of them aren't too bad about it, you know.
Right.
Some of them are okay. You got it. You can't. I mean, I don't know. I tell them, when they come here, I'm like, I don't mind guest act. You guys want to come and guest act? That's absolutely fine. But if you're gonna if someone was to say to me, well, I'll come and guest act, but only in the queue line, I'll be like, I have actors that have worked here for 4 or 5 years that aren't in the queue line. I'm not just gonna put you in there.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, it's not fair to them. So there's those kind of parameters we try to set.
I should just say that I don't really have any experience with guest actors.
Yeah.
Like since I've been there, we haven't really had it happen. Like we've had an alumni come back and work like a couple nights or something, but they didn't bring a character or something. So it's not something that we have done. So in turn, we typically don't go work at other haunts either. There's a loyalty clause that we sign for in season, but it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but that pertains to in season. So it kind of like we don't get visitors, so we really don't act at other haunts. We have no issues with other haunts. We love visiting the other haunts. Like USS Nightmare is just across town from them, and I feel like we go visit them all the time.
Yeah.
Another haunt has popped up east of us, Terror Town, and I haven't seen this before. They have this whole Western theme set up, and they have all these vendors inside of these buildings. And while you're waiting to go through the haunt, you can actually go shopping, and they also have a bar, and you can also have food. And so, while you're visiting, you can do all that. But we just, if any of them wanted to come work, that just, typically, I'm not saying it can't happen. That's up to the owners and management, but I just haven't really seen it happen much.
Yeah.
And it kind of, so that's also part of the reason why I created my own character, because I wanted to know what that was like, to go about creating my own character. And then I got to test him out. It was a lot of fun. It's just not a thing that's going to come up often. And so I kind of stay in my own lane. I don't deal with makeup much. I don't deal with distressing costume much. I did make another character, but when I lost all the weight, that pair of overalls doesn't fit anymore. He was supposed to be like a pig man type thing that had an electrical component to him. The overalls just don't fit. So the effort I put into distressing those kind of went out the window because weight loss. It's okay. I'm healthier for it.
Yeah, there you go.
But it's still
adjust.
Yeah. So, but I would say at Dent though, we're given, so like, for example, when I was in the chef room, they say, okay, you are a chef, you're in this room, you need to be, you don't have a hiding spot. So you have to be creepy. Okay. Let's see what you do. And throughout the night, our manager is walking through multiple times. They are watching us either on camera or walking through, hearing us. They are seeing what we're doing. And, throughout the season, we have to make adjustments. Maybe I'm not good for the kitchen scene, so I got to go somewhere else, and, vice versa and everything.
Right.
Maybe there's a talent that we've discovered. Actually, in scene is where it will happen. This person, they got amazing dialogue. They're really good at, what they're doing. Maybe we need to try them out in the queue line. That could also happen.
Yeah.
So we're not handed scripts, but we do have to bring the character to life under the parameters of the scene of which we're in. That type of thing. Like there's a guy once, I remember he was in a wall and he was supposed to be an aggressive type, and then he starts screaming, "Help me, help me." And I thought, why is he doing that? That didn't make sense. And sometimes you have that, but you give them a note and you say, hey, try this instead and give it a shot.
Yeah. I mean, guest actors that's another thing when you have, if a guest actor comes in, if they want to add their spin to something that you're doing, you know what I mean? That can ruin the flow a little bit, Yeah. I don't want to say ruin, because I let guest actors come here But it changes things up a little bit, and then your actors are like, why are they doing that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's not what's supposed to happen here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I kind of feel like that might happen because I feel like we try to be really legit from the beginning. Like we're filling out I-9s and W whatevers before we're even working. And, you know, we learn the policies. We have to learn fire drills. We have to do all these things to get ready for the season. And then you try to bring in somebody that, you know, I just don't know. I haven't gotten experience, but at the same time, I'm a little jealous of it because when I went to Hudson, there were like 2 or 3 actors from Pioneer Water Park, haunted attraction that were there. And then there were actually some from Akron that were working there too. And I'm like, you know, that is wonderful. You know, you get an off-season event and all the surrounding haunts are kind of like feeding into making your off-season event amazing.
Yeah.
I think that's fantastic. I love it. We're probably not going to be able to do it, but you know, at the same time, I love the fact that our own actors are willing to do our off-season event, like Christmas. Now, after Christmas, we'll probably never do an off-season event because that's as soon as that's over, scenes are being destroyed and new ones are being built, and you know, the insurance permit is only for the certain amount of time. So, so I don't think you're going to see us do. You know, Valentine's. Now, Bud, and if he's listening to this, is going to be like, don't put us in a box. Like, I know, but I've seen typically what happens. There's a construction time, and you know, a lot of effort's getting put into it, and I really thank Josh for allowing me to be a part of the build crew because it's. I feel like Dent is pretty well known for its scenes. The scenes are beautiful, and that's the challenge as an actor is to try to match the quality of those scenes. And as I told you before, there are times when haunters come through and I pop out of my hole and they're like, yeah, whatever. We're looking at the scenes because the scenes are just so beautiful.
Yeah.
They're so detailed, and I've gotten to learn how he kind of goes about doing it, and it's wonderful.
Yeah.
And I love being a part of it.
Sounds great, man.
It is. It's beautiful. I love doing it.
Yeah. I can tell, man. I can tell that you've got the passion for this, for sure. And I'm sure anybody that knows you knows. Hey, real deal. This guy loves it.
I try to. I don't like it when haunts bash each other. I don't enjoy it. You know, I think there was another episode where you were talking about that. Like, we tell our actors, you know, avoid going and putting negative reviews on other pages. Bud does this funny thing where if he sees another haunt, like an actor from another haunt has made a negative review, he'll be like, oh, we're sorry you didn't have a great time, but enjoy your season at such and such haunt.
Yeah. I had one former actor post something on a haunt. It was just silly. You know, sometimes people get caught in the, you know, haunt of the year, and you know, this. I mean, it's like whatever, dude. It's all good. We're all in this together.
Yeah.
But this one actor of mine posted, well, you know, I mean, I'm not going to say what haunt or anything, but, you know, this is the only reason why they won this is because they did this and they do this. And, you know, it's just that, you know, and I messaged this person and I said, look, you're entitled to your opinion, whatever.
Yeah.
But you're going to take that post down or you're fired. It's that simple. I said, I'm not going to get a reputation of, you know, shit talking other haunts. I don't do that. And I don't want my people doing that. You know,
and that's reasonable because
it is.
Haunt owners in the area typically have each other's contact information. So, you know, if one of our actors is going and bashing other haunts, our owners are going to hear about it.
Yeah.
And that's not what they want. I mean, they clearly want to be a group that brings the haunt community together. Hence why Haunter Night is a thing, because we're like, hey, you know, come visit, discount a ticket, come visit. And, you know, I believe in that. It's not like, you know, this coming year, we're going to be competing with Friday Night Football again. You know, we didn't have to do that last year.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to do it again this year.
Yep.
We're going to be competing with the movie theaters again.
Yeah.
I think a lot of fairs and festivals got moved to October. At least in my area, I think I noticed that. Like things that would have happened earlier got pushed to October. So we're dealing with a lot more things now. We're not fighting with USS Nightmare, Terrortown, or Mount Healthy Haunted Hall. Like, you know, we're not.
Yeah.
We're fighting Friday Night Football in the movies.
Right.
And so when you and Trail of Nightmares and Mohican did your thing, I I loved it. I was like,
Oh, yeah.
oh my goodness, like can't more people do this?
Yeah.
You know, Dent Schoolhouse and USS Nightmare got into a into a joint promo thing with pizza. There were some coupons ended up on pizza boxes together and everything,
cool.
and you know, stuff like that. That, like, I love seeing that. Maybe that's just, you know, me wearing a heart on sleeve and like want everybody to be friends, and that's one of my character flaws. I want everybody to be friends, but it's beautiful when that can happen.
Yeah.
John and Flo are amazing people.
Yeah,
you know?
they're sweethearts, man.
And I loved Ed's episode, you know, hearing about the Trail of Nightmares.
Yeah.
And I feel like I have to apologize to him because they were left out of that video. But that's only because I didn't know they were opening. They had closed the year before, right? And,
Yeah. They actually kind of got the raw deal on that, you know.
Yeah. So I felt
I think it was like a zoning thing, but yeah, he was. They rebounded.
Yeah, absolutely, and I love that fact that people can do that. I have no issue where if after somebody comes out of Dent loving it, and they're like, you know, what's another one to go to? I don't have an issue saying that there's another haunt here or there or wherever.
Yeah,
go visit.
I had Haunted Hydro. Mm-hmm. I had one of their banners hanging in the exit area of the haunt last year. Of course, Trail of Nightmares and Mohican. I don't mind doing it at all. It's because it's a weekend. You know, you make a weekend out of it, or even a night. We're gonna go to the Trail of Nightmares, the Hid Blood Prison, and you know, it's just, why not?
Yeah.
You know, why not? If it works for me, it works for you know, them.
Yeah.
And they did love it. Like, I mean, I remember when we did a 3, just like we called it the Mansfield Area Haunted Attraction Ticket Giveaway, something along those lines, and people were just digging it because I don't think they quite understood at first that, you know, like, oh, you get to go to one of these haunts. No, you get to go to all of them. You win tickets to all 3. Really? Yeah. Hell yeah. You know, it was just a pair of tickets. But, you know, either way, we did it every weekend that we were open.
Yeah.
So we would do, hey, you know, sign up here, you know, post a comment on the thread here, and we pick a random winner. You got like the random comment picker deal going on. You do that and it picks the winner. He's like, all right, so-and-so's the winner. And I'm pretty sure everybody came and got their tickets, you know, because they just, you know, they were into it. You know what I mean?
It's an amazing deal. I mean, as far as, you know, being able to visit all those haunts, and if you can visit all of them in like a night, that's pretty interesting, but a lot of fun too. And I don't get, I mean, did you ever see that documentary of that haunt in Michigan? I don't remember what it was called, but I remember there was a scene where there was a car sitting across the street in a lot, and they were kind of like, is that somebody from the other haunt? Oh, it is. They're spying on us. What?
That's crazy.
Like, you gotta be kidding me, right?
Yeah.
I don't see the need for that. So, you know, if anybody's partaking in all that, there's no need. I mean, and that's why I kind of love, like, you know, when I hear about big haunt communities, kind of like Louisville, there's so many haunts down there.
Yeah.
And they all know each other.
Yeah.
I kind of wish that's kind of how Cincinnati was more of.
Sure.
There's a few, but there's not as many nearby. And I, you know, like I've been saying, I love the haunt community. I don't care what haunt you're from.
Yeah.
You know, you, like, the fact that you and I have that in common, I want to hear your story. I want to hear what you've done, because, you know, it helps me learn. Every time I go visit another haunt, it makes me appreciate Dent even more.
Yeah.
Because I see things, and then I compare it to what, you know, Dent does. It makes me love Dent even more. Dent is always going to be, I feel like it's always going to be my home. I've imagined maybe a couple times that I might take a year to travel around act, but then I think, like, can I really ever do that? No, I can't.
Yeah.
Because it is, again, about my haunt family. I need my haunt family.
Yeah, you could go somewhere and it could be a horrible experience. You know what I mean? I'm not saying, you know, I'm not going to name a haunt. Oh, it sucks there. I'm not saying that. I'm just like, because people do things differently everywhere.
Right.
And what works for, you know, Carnage might not work for Dent.
Right.
Or what works for, you know, the Hydro might not work for, you know, Chippewa Lake Slaughterhouse or, you know, Bloodview or, you know. So people might not just have the same experience. You know, a lot of people will talk about that. Yeah, I'm gonna take a year off, man, and I'm just gonna, you know, I'm gonna travel around and you know, go to these different haunts. And I'm just like, I get it, I understand, but you know, it's like, why not just stay home and, you know, be here with your haunt family?
Yeah.
You know, it's just,
I get what you just said, because, like, I have had that thought. I've really thought about that.
Yeah.
But for this season already, I've already invested so much into this season. I started investing in this season back in, like, I don't know, February already.
Yeah.
I was already, trying to do things that, like, there are times when we've shot promos in January and February already. I've already invested in this coming season. And by the time next season ends, I'm probably already invested in the year after.
Yeah.
I don't see it ending. Yes, traveling would be amazing. The Haunt Finder General guy that runs around and does all the haunts, I envy him for being able to see it. I would love to have I'd love to have a sit down conversation with him and have him tell me about, the different experience. I could go read all of his reviews, I guess, but conversation I enjoy. And what's North Dakota haunts like? What was the 3 haunts in Wyoming like, compared to Alabama and all the like. Who knows? That's the wonderful thing about this whole industry. And actually, here in a couple weeks, I'm going to be on a panel for the Idaho Haunters Convention.
Idaho Haunters Convention.
You hadn't heard about this?
No.
There's an Idaho Haunters Convention.
That's hysterical. That's so funny because there's like not very many. There's not much there.
Well, they came together for a convention, and they're and I'm going to be on a virtual panel. Like, I'm not actually going to attend. I'm going to be on a computer.
Yeah.
But it's going to be me, a lovely lady from Scotland, a couple from Australia. Like, it's an international haunt panel.
That's weird.
And it's also, it's amazing to hear how they do the haunting in Australia and then how she does it in Scotland. It's just, the things that they deal with is just different.
That's so funny because we went to HauntCon. And when the last time I went, my crew went without me the year COVID hit because they had that year, like right, like it was right after January.
Right.
But the last year I went, we were at Rise Haunted House, and I was in line for the haunt, and we're standing there talking to the person in line ahead of us.
Yeah.
And I want to say she was from Scotland. It might have been Ireland though. I can't remember. That's just funny that you said that.
Was she a haunter?
Yeah.
Huh.
They had a haunt in, I think it was Ireland, though. It wasn't Scotland. Mm-hmm. They had a haunt there, and they wanted to, I think, come to America, see how we do it, and check out, certain things.
At HauntCon, I met a couple that had a haunt in Trinidad and Tobago.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That is not, and my brother lives in Germany. I have no idea about the haunt scene in Germany. I'd love to go find out.
Yeah.
I don't know how long I can get away from that, impacts my either work or acting at Dent, but I'd love to do it. I mean,
It'd be interesting to see a European take.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do know there was a haunt in Germany that got in trouble for using real tombstones. like a girl walked through and recognized her grandfather's tombstone.
Oh, no.
And how it got there, I don't know. But somehow this haunt acquired this tombstone and decided to use it. I think it was in Nuremberg, but yeah, that was interesting to take.
That is interesting.
I mean, it's interesting that happened. It's not like Ohio haunts have a clean slate of things, but
Wow.
we move on and we.
There's enough of them here, that's for sure.
We do have a bunch, and a lot of people are. When I talk to people at conventions and they're from an area where they're the only haunt within a certain mile drive, I feel lucky in Ohio being able to, just from Dent Schoolhouse to my house.
Yeah.
I can count a bunch that I could go visit. And even in my hometown, Tara Mays, who's been around for almost 30 years, the guy's at his house, and he just keeps building into the backyard.
It's
cool. Amazing. And Hotel of Terror, Face Your Fears Hotel of Terror.
I've heard of that one. Yeah.
Oh my god! If you haven't been there, you gotta see that. Like I'm telling you, like
Good stuff.
Go. You'll love it. I think you'll love it.
There you go.
And that's the thing. The deeper you dig, the more you find. And whether the haunt industry, the haunts, the actors, the makeups, the podcasts, the conventions, there's just so much, and I love digging more and more into it. So
yeah, for sure.
If you're out there and you have a story you want to share with me, find me. Maximus Bryant, anywhere.
Yeah.
Find me and tell me about it. I'd love to hear it. I'd love to see your character. Anything.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's plenty to talk about. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And I know just chatting with you before we got started that I'm like, yeah, this will be a good one because I just, I can tell you've got the drive, and the passion to do this. And it's good stuff. And that's why we're doing it. That's why I'm doing this, get the word out there, dense schoolhouse. I mean, everything, you know what I mean? And it's just, it's a passion, whether you go to haunts or you work in them, because you get a lot of people that come to your show every year and you get a fan base.
Oh, yes.
And they know, like, oh, you did this different. I talked to somebody out front here one time, was like, your inmate clowns, you changed cell blocks on us. I was like, yeah, of course we did. Yeah. Wow. Oh man. I was thinking this and, oh, wait a minute,
We don't want you to see the same thing every year, but a lot, like I told you about the cell phone thing.
Yeah.
I have all these kids coming up to me the year after. And this is why whoever's the next Pumpkin Smasher is going to have a hard time. These kids come up to me and they're like, you stole my phone last year and you took a video and you sent it to everybody. I'm like, bull crap, show it or prove it. And they'll pull it up from a year ago and I'll look at them like, oh yeah, that was me. and so I kind of keep doing this thing that keeps people kind of coming back. And so I walk around with this giant hammer. People are like, how do I get one like this? I'm like, first, you got to get a spoon and you have to smash marshmallows. And then you will become a Pumpkin Smasher apprentice. And you have to come back after you've done that. And a kid came back the week later. He's like, I smashed that marshmallow with the spoon. I'm like, very good. Now you take one of these hammers. And then you can start smashing the little squashes. And then, work your way up. He came back a week later, and I was like, okay, I don't know what else to do with him. I was like, so I went.
You're stumping me.
I went down to the merch booth, bought a Pumpkin Smasher pin, and just said, okay, you're officially part of the Pumpkin Smasher clan, and gave him the pin.
Right on.
I didn't know what else to do. He kept coming back.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Mom's getting mad. I'm smashing everything in the house.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm going to have a lawsuit on my hand if
this
kid
no doubt.
really ends up destroying something else. But man, those interactions with the crowds, though.
Yeah.
I love the fact that they came back and they saw me and they're like, Pumpkin Smasher, you have this video. And they've done this. I love it.
You know what I love doing? Because when I'm walking around outside, I'm just in a Blood Prison t-shirt or a jacket, and they see me and it'll say crew on the back, and they see me and they're like, hey, can you take our picture? Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure, of course. And I'll take their phone or whether, because we have the warden's widow, and she gets a lot of pictures taken. I got 2 guards that walk around. I got a slider dude, Sparky, who's real cool. Mm-hmm. And then I got this clown, this just like a ringmaster type clown that we have outside. And you take a picture? I'm like, yeah, of course. Let me see your phone and get it. I'm like, you guys ready? And I'm like, all right, so I just hit this button. And the whole time I'm doing that, or while they're getting ready, oh, here, stand over here. I'll flip the phone on a selfie and I'll just be like, and I'm sitting there just taking all these pictures of myself. I'm like, okay, you ready? And then I'll take a few of them. It's like, there's 3 of them on there. Be sure and look. I've done that so many times over the season.
Pumpkin Smasher has done that as well, but mainly because it's an insult. You're going to come to a costumed actor and ask them to take a photo of you.
Right.
Pumpkin Smasher doesn't allow it. He selfies himself.
Yeah, so there you go.
It doesn't happen often, but when it has, I do know that he has done that.
Yeah. That's the little fun I get to have.
Yeah.
But
that's amazing that you get to have some fun, though, at least.
Oh, yeah. Well, and I'll go out in the lines, and every once in a while, I'll go out and I'll grab a couple, maybe 2 to 4 people, and have a little fun that way, and be like, all right. The one time I walked up and I go, "Are you guys together, all 4 of you?" And they're like, "Yeah." And I was like, "All right, come with me." And they're just like, and it's funny how they just follow you. Mm-hmm. They're like, okay. And they just start walking. And I'm like, you're going to leave your spot in line. You have no idea what's going on. You have no idea who I am. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, all right, come with me. And they're like walking up. And I remember the one guy's like, sir, are we in trouble? And I was just like, no, I'm going to go ahead and upgrade you for free. And they're just like, what? And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to put you in the speed pass line so you don't have to wait as long. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just, I'll do that to a few people a night on the, busy nights. Just try and keep it,
Why not?
I mean, I can't do it for everybody, but it's just like.
Yeah, but they're going to spread that word, that happened.
Yeah,
and, tell
sure.
Tell that story that happened, and it kind of spreads, the thing about it. And like, really? Yeah. I mean, that's a much better story to spread than the idea that if you complete the haunt, you get your ticket.
Oh God, here we go with that
back,
again.
like,
Yeah, I've talked about that a few times. The old folklore of the old haunting myths of
Right.
you get your money back.
Right. Yeah.
You know, you got to sign a waiver or you'll die.
Yeah.
You know, trapdoors. Yeah, we talked about that before.
Yeah, I know, but but if the owner comes through and just randomly upgrades you, that's a much better story to tell.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's a much better story.
You know, I walked out there one time and I saw somebody and they were having, excuse me, they were having a little trouble. I think they were just in line and they were older. There was an older couple and I saw them and that's kind of what got me doing it was that happening. I saw them and it was an older couple and one younger kid. And I don't know if it was grandparents bringing their grandson here or something, something along those lines. And I saw them and the one was kind of just like sitting on the ground because their feet hurt or whatever. And I was just like, what are you doing? You guys can't sit on the ground here. Come on, let's go. And they're just like, what? I'm like, get up, let's go. And they're like, oh man. And they get up and they're like, we're really sorry. We didn't know we could sit. I'm like, I don't want anybody sitting in line. So I'm going to go ahead and upgrade you for free. And they were just like, what? You know? And I was like, yeah, I'll go ahead and give you an upgrade. You know, I could just tell that they were like, oh man, I've been standing here for, an hour or two and it's just kind of rough on them. So I was just like, yeah, let me give you a free upgrade. And they were just like, oh, thanks so much. And they were really grateful.
There's some mojo to that because if people are acting bored in line, that kind of impacts the vibe of everything. Yeah. And that's where the queue line actors have to really like keep people entertained and doing their thing. I've had to learn as a queue line actor when I go up to a group and a group gets real talkative, I have to learn how to pull myself away. There are times when I know that I've been there too long.
Yeah.
I get my initial scare, I do a little interaction, and if the conversation goes on too long, they'll eventually ask, so, you have fun working here?
Yeah.
That's usually my sign, like, no, been here too long. Gotta go. Gotta move on to someone else. There was a kid once, I remember, I don't know why this happened. It'd been raining all day. We knew it was going to rain. This kid shows up in shorts and a t-shirt, and it's the later half of October. So it's getting cold, And this kid is in line, and he's freezing. I'm like, what? I'm like, who dropped this kid? I swear, he was like 10 years old.
Yeah.
Like, who dropped this kid off to have him freeze in the rain? Maybe I shouldn't have done it. I went and bought him a hoodie from our thing, and I was like, look, I want you to have a good time. I don't want you to die.
Right. Yeah.
And, so, maybe hopefully that generosity goes forth into the universe and finds its way back. Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's cool though. That's great of you to do something like that. You see somebody that way and, just help them out a little bit,
Well, yeah, you want people to have fun. And there are times when, I think they're like 8 to 14-year-old girls. Mm-hmm. There have been many times where, like, what you got to do is you got to go over the front of the building and you need to walk in the front doors. That front door entrance, there's no actor there. Mm-hmm. But dang it, people are afraid of that front door.
Yeah.
And they won't go in sometimes. And so, sometimes I try to scare them in. And then there are times when they're just freaking out. And so then I'll pull them to the side and kind of be like, hey, I don't want you to waste your ticket. You're not going to get a refund. I want you to enjoy yourself. And then I try to tell them things, if you ever feel like you need to leave, just tell the actor, show me an exit, and they'll show you an exit. That's typically how it works, and there's some parents that bring their little kids, like a 6-year-old boy comes through. He's freaked out, and I see he's freaked out. So I'll just say, hey, can I borrow him for a second? And then I'll walk him around the festival a little bit and be like, hey, look, you see that thing? That thing's real cool, isn't it? Technically, I'm kind of in character. I don't know. A pumpkin smasher kind of matches you in a way. Like, if you are a jerk, he squares you up.
Right.
Like he doesn't like backing out. If you're a 6-year-old kid, he becomes playful.
Yeah.
If you're a 6-year-old kid that's scared, I don't know, pumpkin smasher shouldn't have empathy, but he seems to sometimes.
Right. Yeah. That's all right.
The actor needs to do a better job, I guess. But no, it has happened before. I've walked the kid around, and then I've walked him to the front door. And, well, I didn't make him skip line, but when it was his turn to go, I'm like, all right, buddy, you got this. Ready? Go.
Yeah.
And then he goes, has an amazing time, comes out at the ending, like, I made it through.
Yeah.
So I've had a few of those moments. And then I guess it's maybe the goal is just that everybody has a good time. Not everybody's going to get scared, but everybody can be
Right,
entertained. And there's no reason I think that 8-year-old or 6-year-old boy had to, I don't know, like he could have had a terrible time.
Yeah.
Maybe what I did helped. I don't know, but it
didn't hurt.
It didn't hurt, I don't think. So, and that's what another thing Dent likes to do. We like to do a lights on trick-or-treating event. It's the last Sunday of the month. Mm-hmm. People come through, they buy their tickets, and it's a lights on tour. There's no actors or anything, and kids go through, and there's different stations throughout, and they get candy for trick-or-treating.
Like that, yeah.
Yeah, and this is how we breed the next generation of haunters.
That's a good way to do it. Yeah.
They go through, and then some of the kids are like, "Oh, that was awesome. Let's buy a ticket for the real show."
Yeah.
And then they get a ticket for the real show, and so there's a lot of efforts I think being done. Like we also
get them while they're young.
Yeah, we also go into the schools doing the "Don't be a monster" thing.
Yeah.
We talk to kids about bullying, and we have a team of 4 that goes out and does that. I feel like Dent Schoolhouse is making a lot of efforts to really be a part of the community, and
that's great.
Make it a big part of it. And
that's great,
community,
man.
Just Cincinnati, and then also the haunt community.
Haunt community, yeah. Yeah, speaking on Q line actors, and staying in character. Mm-hmm. You mentioned that a few minutes ago. I'm sure you're great at it, and we're good at it here. But the one I don't want is I won't say where it was, but I had a Q line actor. We were waiting in line one time for this haunt, and this Q line actor comes up, does her thing, and we're just like, oh, and it was good. We got a laugh out of it, and it was good stuff. And we were wearing Blood Prison gear, and we're like, oh, that was cool, and just figured she would kind of move on to the next. And she was like, oh, you guys from Blood Prison? I mean, just like boom, right now. Yeah. You guys from Blood Prison? I was just like, yeah, we are. Yeah. We a bunch of us came down to check it out. Oh, that's cool. I've always wanted to work there. Do you guys? And I'm sitting there just like, wow. I'm like, she's like, do you need people? And I'm like, no. Well, we've already done our hiring events and we're good to go. But thanks. You know what I mean? I'm like, I've got enough actors. But maybe next year if you come to one of the hiring events, maybe. And I was just like, you just broke character, and I'm like, that's not a good thing to put on your resume.
I don't know. I don't know what you call that. There needs to be a word for an interaction with a haunter as a haunter. Yeah. I don't know what the word is, but I feel like I've had all the different kinds. There was a time I went through a haunt. The dude jumps out in the scene, does his thing, sees my hat, sees my jacket, grabs me by the shoulder, and it's like, dude, I effing love Dent. You guys are awesome. And then sends me on. And I was like, I love the props. That's cool. Yeah, nice. Thank you. Yeah. Just I don't take me out of the world that you guys have worked so hard to create.
Exactly.
I guess. Yeah. I've had people. Yeah, I've had Q line actors come up talk to me about Dent. When people come to Dent, and if I'm in character, now this is the thing. I'm typically only in the Q line on Fridays and Saturdays. I don't typically see other haunters on nights where I'm in the Q line. I'll see them in my scene, but if I'm seen, I'm giving you hell. Yeah. I'm gonna try to get the bejesus out of you or something. If I'm in the Q line and I see you, and I see that you're a haunter, I'm like, it's a fellow haunter. Yeah. Oh, here you are. Thank you so much for coming so far to see me. But of course you came to see the Pumpkin Smasher, right? You didn't come to see King Charlie. No, of course not. You came to see me. And so, maybe I'll introduce it in a way, but then I eventually go back into Pumpkin Smasher's egotistical tendencies. Right. So, yeah. So, I recognize somebody's from a haunt, but I don't think I've ever done this thing like, I am the Pumpkin Smasher. Oh, man, Blood Prison. Yeah. How's your season going?
Yeah, right. You guys up to, man?
Yeah.
How's your drive?
Yeah. Hiring? No.
Yeah, right. Can I come guest act?
Which by the way, if anybody's out there thinking about working at a haunt, just do it. Everybody's hiring. So, go find a nearby haunt and apply. I swear to you, they're looking for you. Do it. Yeah.
We got another one coming up August 21st. We're going to do one more event to get some people in. But it's work. Yeah. But it's fun. It's a fun job. You're not in it for the money.
All right,
Well,
if
yeah.
if you,
well, of course.
well, as an actor,
Yeah.
if you are that,
Yeah. No, you're not. It's a seasonal job.
yeah,
You know what I mean? It's you're gonna do it like for us. It's only 5 weekends.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So the money part of it, we want people who love Halloween, who have the interest, you know, in scaring people or entertaining them or just finding that new way to,
Mm-hmm.
you know, to release a little energy without getting too crazy.
Oh, this is my therapy as well. I mean,
Oh,
it,
yeah,
it is
yeah.
difficult, but you know, working in the courts, I need to take it out on somebody.
There you go.
That's,
Plus, once you get your first scare, and then you're just like, oh, that's what that is.
you can
Okay.
be addicted to that.
Yeah, you're hooked.
Yeah.
Yeah, got him.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Oh, but my first scare, oh, jeez, that must have been the scariest moment of my life.
Yeah.
Like people, I remember my first day, people walking by my box, you know, they were other actors getting into their scenes, but thinking like, okay, is this the actual person? Is this the actual, is this an actual customer?
Yeah.
This is, okay, here it goes. I remember being so scared of that. But after I got into my groove and figured out what I was doing, man, it was fun.
yeah, yeah.
After getting into my groove as a Q-line actor, that was a lot of fun. And it can be a lot of fun, and you can change it up and you can develop it. You can go in with a plan, but you'll notice after your first 5 interactions that, you know, something didn't work too well and you got to change it up, but then you change it up a little bit, and then by the end of the night, you've got it. And it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But then you need to take care of your voice and yourself, and you need to get sleep and, you know, painkillers and all the things.
Yeah, exactly. I was telling, I've told a couple people on the show, because I've never actually put makeup on and been out on, I've never acted. I've always worked at the other end of the industry or you know what I'm saying, of the house that I'm working at whatever time. But I have ran some of the actor-controlled animatronics. We've got a Gorgalore. They call it the possum. We call it a rat, just because rats are cooler, you know. But with the Gorgalore possum, we got one of those down in the basement, and I love running that thing. It is so much fun because it's so big, and it runs on that rail that just goes back and forth, and you can just fly at people. And then we have what we used to have. We don't incorporate them in the show anymore. We may put it back, but we had one of the Creature Core werewolf puppets that is actor controlled. So I would run those, and just doing that. I remember the first time I went down there, and before I ran it, because when I bought it, I'm thinking I want to know how to run this thing. You know what I mean? So I was doing like, oh, this is so cool, watching the giant rat mouth open, and I'm just like, oh, the eyes are glowing and everything. Oh, it's so much fun. So they needed a break, and I was just like, I'll do it. I'll go. I'm coming. I'm on the radio. I'm like, I'll be right there. Hold on. And I go down to break them, and I was just like, oh my gosh. And they were going like, 15 minutes. They come back. It's like, all right, I'm good. I'm like, sit down. I'm not done. I'm not done with these people yet. And they're like, oh, okay. So I can see how it is addictive. And, I'm just not an actor. I couldn't, I don't have the quip ability to, someone says something to me to quip right back at them.
But you are though, because you have the same sickness we do. The need to control someone else's emotions.
Yeah.
Like you experienced it and you loved it.
Yeah.
But we all do it in our different ways. Like when I was a chainsaw guy, I got some pretty awesome scares. One of my best scares ever was with a chainsaw. But I don't consider myself a chainsaw actor.
Right.
I don't feel like I'm much of a prop actor. Pumpkin Smasher rocks around with a hammer, but what he's known for is not what he does with a hammer. He could be. Maybe I could do better with it. But I mean, so I don't think I'm a prop guy. The pop scares, I think I'm pretty good at that. I get pretty intense. I get real close, real fast, like intense, fast, loud. I do all those. But it's not my passion. I'm more of a dialogue driven guy, I think. And when I was a chef and I didn't have a hiding scene, people are walking around my table, and the entire time I have to have the dialogue going. Because if I leave a breath of air in there somewhere, they start taking over my scene. I can't allow that. It's my scene. My scene, dang it.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to let you ruin my scene. It's my world.
Yeah.
And you come in and you're like, what's on the menu? I'd like some hamburger. I'm like, shut up. We have this in here and you're going to free test it. And
yeah.
So basically, point being, many different actors.
Yeah.
And it's just, which one are you the most ferocious at? I mean, do you play video games, Call of Duty, anything like that?
Not that much.
Okay. Well, in Call of Duty, you pick the different gun, right? Like some people are good with one kind of gun as opposed to a different one.
Yeah,
So,
Sure. Yeah.
I feel like it's the same thing with acting in a way where I do much better behind a wall and a drop panel.
Mm-hmm.
Some people are just not dialogue driven. Some people don't have the ability to stay in character constantly for cue lines. Some people don't have the ability to keep going the whole time. Some people can't stand being behind a wall. They need to move more. So they need a scene where they can roam. And, everybody's different. So, but, where you are creating props, managing, owning a haunt and all, I think you're doing too much as it is.
Oh, I am. Believe me.
Don't feel bad about not acting. I mean,
oh Jesus. Yeah, it looks fun. I've watched back at the old haunt we used to work at before here. My friend David Greathouse was working the queue lines, and he's a veteran from years and years ago. Legion of Terror. This guy's been around. And I remember I was standing at our ticket tent, and he had this really cool getup with this thing over his eyes, and this really long black. It was just in his white face makeup. It was so cool, and his teeth were just jacked up. And he walks up to somebody that was walking either to or from the haunt line or whatever. He walks up, and he just kind of walks up, and he leans down, and he says something to her. I think it was a woman. He kind of leans down, and I remember she just looked at him like, and just kind of, and he just stood up and he just meandered away. Mm-hmm. He didn't like go up there and just like, and get all crazy or anything. He just, and I saw him later that night because I didn't want to bother him while he was in character. And I saw him after we closed, and I was like, dude, it was like maybe 8:30, 9 o'clock. I saw you talk to this woman out at this point, and he was just like, yeah. I go, what did you say to her? And he was just like, I don't remember because I talked to a lot of people. I don't remember who you're talking about. Right. But he told me, he goes, I'm going to scare you in a way that isn't a jump scare or, one of those kind of deals. He goes, you're going to be thinking about me when you go to bed, and I was just like, that scares me. You just saying that, House, what I mean? Cause I'm like, wow. And you could tell she was just like, what in the world did he just say? Why did he say that to me? It was good stuff.
Those creepy kind of scares, like the ones that aren't pop-ish or distraction or statue, those creep ones, those are hard. Like, I think that there's a lot of people who like to try to be creepy, but just don't always pull it off right. And that's not a slight against you. It just means your strength might lie somewhere.
Yeah, just different. Different method.
But those creep scares, if he can pull it off to where they're thinking about him later.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're like making somebody feel that uncomfortable.
Yeah.
That's something.
And when it lasts, it's just like, well, it was just funny. It was kind of a cool thing to see. Yeah. A different, other than just somebody chasing you with a chainsaw, which, don't get me wrong, that is a part of it. Yeah. And it obviously works, but just seeing the different ways, the different methods that, from you to Katie to House or whoever, they have their own way and their own style. Yeah, it's all good.
I mean, and that's why I want to keep visiting places because
inspiration.
I'm not trying to steal anything.
Oh no.
But of course dang not. It, you naturally take things in and you naturally I think incorporate it.
Yeah.
Be like this kind of worked out very well. I'm not going to copy it exactly, but
right.
I'm going to intake it and it's naturally going to become molded and. It might come out in a different way, but
yeah, a musician isn't gonna never listen to one note of music and then decide, I think I'm gonna play music, right? They're gonna hear some music and be like, I think I want to try that out. You know what I mean? Yeah. And they're gonna do their thing, or try.
Well, I mean,
same thing, inspiration.
Yeah, that's what I do now. If I hear music with a very interesting bass line, I give it a shot. You know?
Oh yeah, I've seen the videos of. What was the last one I saw? It's been a while ago that I saw one. I can't remember. But I remember, I've seen you playing bass. Mm-hmm. Do that in the free time?
Yeah, I've done that since high school.
Yeah.
I first learned piano as a kid, then baritone, then tuba. The high school band the jazz band needed a bass player, so I learned bass. And
sure,
my brother and I jammed together. And It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Ideally one day I'd love to play in a band like during a haunt night. That'd be fun. I don't think that will ever happen at Dent, but there are other haunts that have stages and bands and such. So that'd be fun one day.
There's the two big balconies out on the front of the reformatory.
Yeah.
We used to, like, after Mad Max. You remember Mad Max, the new one that came out like 7 or 8 years ago, and they were driving that truck, and there was that guy with all the big speakers and the amps, and he had his guitar. And he's just playing all this crazy. We put some guys up on there with their stacks and had them up there just playing guitar. We haven't done that in a couple years, but I did also put a band up there one time. It was oh God, I can't remember the name of the band, but yeah, we put them up on the balcony, and we'll put DJs up on the front porches and stuff like that because to entertain people and. But yeah, that was pretty cool. I've got some. If you go back far enough in the Blood Prison, like on well, not Instagram, but on Facebook, you'll see some pictures of like guys or the Monster Dolls are up there with guitar guys while they're playing guitar and stuff. It was pretty cool.
I'm gonna have to check that out.
Yeah, it's pretty neat.
That would be. I mean, entertaining people while they wait in line. It just can't be avoided. We sometimes
you got to
2.5 to 3 hour waits. It happens. So what do you do with them?
Yeah.
Well, there's me.
Yeah.
But I'm not interacting with everybody at once. So Terror on the Fox like I said, had an amazing kind of like pre-hype show type thing, and different haunts have had different things. That's an interesting art in of itself, entertaining the people while they're waiting in line.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, and you got to do it.
It has to be done,
especially when you're Dent Schoolhouse and you're going to have pretty big lines. It's got to be done.
Yeah, and you got to keep moving, and that's, like I said, that's one thing I got to work on is learning when to get away from one group and move on to the next. I mean, there are times I get bogged down with selfies or picture taking, because one person will say, "Oh, that person takes photos. Oh, can I get one too?" And a good part ends up being photo taking, but even then I got to interact. So like I'll be there. I'll have my hammer. They'll take their photo. And then as soon as the photo's taken, I'll charge the person that took the photo. Like, I want to see it.
Yeah, yeah.
So, you have to keep the interaction going and live.
That's
and
good
everything.
stuff, man.
It's a lot. I'm having fun. I'm kind of, like, right now I'm thinking about the season. I'm like, oh, it's coming.
Oh, yeah. It'll be.
I'm not dreading it. I am looking forward to it. I just know it's going to be physically exhausting again.
Oh, yeah.
By nature, I'm lazy. I just am.
It's good to be self-aware.
I love just watching Netflix and stuff, but haunt season, I also can't imagine not doing it.
Yeah, me neither. I've definitely got the bug. But when we first started doing it those years ago, I was like, yeah, this is for me. Mm-hmm. I just love the atmosphere. I love the people and the event and just being around. Being around it.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I love it.
Well, listen, man, it was great having you on. I'd love to get with you maybe after the season sometime. Maybe you can come back, talk about how things went down at Dent Schoolhouse.
Oh yeah, I'd love to.
And just go over some more stories from the season.
Oh, absolutely. I'm sure there'll be plenty, and we'll see if I survive.
Yeah, if you survive. If Pumpkin Smasher doesn't do too much smashing.
No, if Geister doesn't get to him or something. But,
there
please, the Dent Schoolhouse, frightsite.com. Hope plugging is okay.
Of course.
Frightsite.com. Learn about the Dent Schoolhouse. September 17th will be when we open. Fridays, Saturdays for the first weekend. Friday, Saturday, Sunday for September. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday in October, we have a lights out edition the first weekend in November, and then December, I think it's 11th and 12th will be our a Christmas Nightmare. Awesome. And you haunters out there, please consider coming and visiting on September 30th. Wear your haunt swag, so you can get that discounted ticket. I'm not completely sure if I'm acting that night. If not, I'm gonna kind of be like a guest welcomer. I can't wait to meet all of you and say hi and hear your stories and see what you have to say about Dent and visit.
Oh yeah, man, for sure. We'll try to make it down if not that day, someday. I can't guarantee it, but we will do our best. Dent Schoolhouse down in Cincinnati, Ohio. It is also up for the USA Today.
Oh yes,
yeah.
Please, USA Today top 10 haunted attractions. You can vote, and you can vote every day.
Nice.
From the same device. So, go find Dent Schoolhouse, vote. It's the only Ohio haunt on the list. So you Ohio haunters out there, maybe, a little
get in
Buckeye
there.
pride in there.
Yep. Show your support for the Dent Schoolhouse.
Please do. And thank you so much for having me on, Vic.
Man, it was great having you. Again, get down to the Dent Schoolhouse this year for some Halloween fun. Max, thanks again. We'll circle back at the end of the year, yeah?
Yeah, 25 years Dent Schoolhouse has been scaring.
There you go. So they're veterans, industry veterans, right?
Absolutely.
All right. Thanks, man.
Thank you.
You're awesome. Thanks, man.